Chapter 740. The moment he saw the eye, Qin Shujian had a strong warning in his heart. In front of that power, he felt threatened. Without any hesitation, he directly activated the Zhou Tian Great Star Array. The 365 ancient stars formed a vast world of their own in the void outside the realm. At this moment, the indifferent eyes flickered, and a terrifying dim light shot out from them. Where the dim light passed, the void was silently destroyed. Then, it landed on the Zhou Tian Great Star Array. In an instant, the ancient star seemed to have felt a great threat and immediately released all of its hidden power. Qin Shujian's expression was serious. With a wave of his hand, he controlled the array to operate. Destroy! The power of the stars was like a great millstone that destroyed the world, grinding toward the dim light. That power, even an upper 3 true immortal would be able to obliterate an expert like him. However, when it encountered the dim light, the two collided violently. Then, the great millstone of stars collapsed inch by inch. It was no match for the power of the dim light. Seeing this scene, Qin Shujian's heart sank. With his eyesight, he could naturally see that the power of the dim light had surpassed the 9th true immortal. Although it had not stepped into the Dao fruit level, it was at least at the half-step Dao fruit level. The evil void demon has the means to borrow the power of the heavenly path. It's unexpected. Qin Shujian's expression was solemn as he watched the dim light suppress it. The power of the heavenly path. It existed everywhere. Even if the great wide world had thousands of rules and eventually gave birth to the heavenly path, there were also thousands of rules in the outer space. Naturally, an existence similar to the heavenly path was born. However, the heavenly path was usually in a deep sleep, and there was almost no possibility of it waking up. As for borrowing the power of the heavenly path, it was even more difficult. However, no matter how difficult it was not impossible. In Qin Shujian's memory, there was a way to borrow the power of the heavenly path, but it came at a great price. Even if he borrowed the power of the heavenly path, it might not be able to make up for the loss. Seeing the appearance of the power of the heavenly path in the outer space, Qin Shujian immediately understood something. I was wondering why the fiendish void devil suddenly had internal strife. It turns out that they were using the method of blood sacrifice to borrow the power of the heavenly Tao of the outer realm to destroy the barrier of the vast 1,000 domains. If you want to borrow the power of a Tao fruit, I'm afraid you'll have to sacrifice a Devil Emperor level powerhouse. Qin Shujian was very clear. How difficult was it to borrow the power of the outer realm heavenly Tao? Furthermore, among all the methods, blood sacrifice was the simplest and crudest, but it was also the most costly. Although he didn't see the details, he could guess that the nefarious Devil clan must have paid the price of a Devil Emperor. A Demon Emperor! In exchange for a chance to break through the barrier between heaven and earth. To be honest, this deal was not a loss. If it had been 10 years earlier, the great wide world might have been conquered by the void demons. But now, Qin Shujian sneered inwardly. The dim light descended. Zhou Tian's grand constellation formation was still operating at a crazy speed. The two collided violently. In the end, under the watchful eyes of Qin Shujian, Baido, and the other Devil Emperors, an ancient star finally couldn't withstand the power and collapsed. And at the moment when the star crumbled, a terrifying aura rose, and a huge beast that was 1,000,000 feet tall appeared from the shattered star. An ancient star shattered. The incomplete version of Zhou Tian's grand constellation formation shattered with a loud bang. However, Qin Shujian didn't care about the shattering of the formation. Instead, he looked at the beast that appeared after the star shattered. Star Beast! When he saw the beast that was 1,000,000 feet tall, his expression changed. Star Beast. It was a powerful existence that existed in the Third Era. It was a beast that was born by relying on the stars. When each star beast reached adulthood, it was a true immortal level powerhouse. And the most powerful star beast in the Third Era. It was in existence at the Dao fruit level. It was just that the Third Era was destroyed, and the universe had already ended, so star beasts naturally didn't exist anymore. Over time, Qin Shujian also forgot about the existence of star beasts. Now that the ancient stars shattered and star beasts were born, he suddenly remembered this powerful race. There were very few star beasts, but each of them was extremely powerful. From the aura of the star beast that was born in front of him, he could tell that its strength was definitely not inferior to a true immortal in the upper 3 levels. If an ancient star has a sleeping star beast, then wouldn't it be the same for the other ancient stars? Qin Shujian looked at the other stars, and his expression became even more solemn. Star beasts were very powerful. If there were star beasts on other stars, then it was definitely not a good thing for the great wide world. Because the heavenly court had always been absorbing the power of the stars. Strictly speaking, absorbing the power of the stars was equivalent to absorbing the power of the star beast itself. Therefore, it was fine if the star beast was sleeping, but once it woke up, it would be a big problem. At this moment, the newly born star beast immediately raised its head and looked at the light that was bombarding it. Without any hesitation, it attacked the light. The million-foot-long star beast took a step forward. Every step it took could shatter the void. There was rich starlight lingering in its body. It let out a shocking roar and punched out. It was a simple punch. A terrifying power burst out like a river and directly rushed towards the dim light. The two collided. The void within hundreds of millions of miles collapsed. In the end, the star beast let out a scream. Its arm had been directly shattered by the light, and star-like blood scattered in the void. In front of the light, even a true immortal in the upper 3 levels could not resist. The star beast was injured. It turned around and ran toward another star. Soon, it arrived in front of another star. Its huge fist bombarded wildly, and once again broke an ancient star. The star shattered. The same powerful aura rose. It was also at this moment. As the dim light fell, it pierced through the star beast that had been wounded. Not only that, it didn't stop there as it continued to fall into the core of the shattered star. Roar! An earth-shattering roar rang out from the shattered star. But soon, the roar disappeared. The star completely shattered, and a broken astral beast corpse appeared from the shattered star. Then, the light did not stop and bombarded in the direction of the upper-class world. Seeing this, Qin Shujian. He directly took out the investiture of the gods, and Zhou Tian's star map appeared on it. He pushed with his palm. He could see that in Zhou Tian's star map, light spots were flowing. The seal of Zhou Tian's star constellation deity position was emitting a powerful force. Then, an ancient star was pulled in the direction of the upper-class world. The entire process. It all happened in an instant. When the ancient star fell toward the upper-class world, it happened to be intercepted in front of the light. The star shattered. The star beast inside had just been born. Before it could attack, it was annihilated by the light. Qin Shujian's expression did not change, and he still controlled the star to come over. The power obtained from the blood sacrifice could not be controlled. Only during the blood sacrifice, if one prayed for something, then the heavenly Tao would do it according to the request. There was no doubt. The requirement of the blood sacrifice must be to break the barrier of heaven and earth. Therefore, the light did not change its original intention and kept going toward the barrier of heaven and earth. However, the barrier of heaven and earth absolutely could not be broken. Because the barrier of heaven and earth was the protective membrane of the upper-class world, and it was an existence that resisted the erosion of the power of the outer realm. If the barrier of heaven and earth was completely broken, then 99% of the living beings in the upper-class world would completely die in the god-destroying gale. Only those true immortals were qualified to survive. Therefore, it was not a problem to open a hole in the barrier of heaven and earth, but it was absolutely impossible to let the barrier of heaven and earth be broken. Therefore, those ancient stars became the sacrifice of the power of the blood sacrifice at this moment. Even though the stars were broken, it would weaken the power of the stars in the upper-class world. But Qin Shujian did not feel any pity about this. Originally, he did not know that there were sealed star beasts in the stars. If the stars were destroyed, he would feel some pity. But now, he no longer had such thoughts. Because in any era, star beasts were in a state of chaos and neutrality. Everything they did was based on their own preferences. Therefore, many experts did not like star beasts. And in this era, the heavenly court stole the power of the stars. If the star beasts woke up, they would be a strong enemy of the heavenly court. At this moment, he could borrow the power of the dim light to kill a portion of the star beasts. In fact, it could be considered as eliminating the hidden danger in advance. More importantly, facing the power of the dim light, Qin Shujian was not confident that he could resist it with his own strength. Since that was the case, he could only use other methods. One by one, stars appeared and then disappeared in the dim light. Some star beasts did not have time to react, and were killed by the dim light. However, there were also powerful star beasts that fought back, and after wearing down part of the dim light's power, they were killed by the other party. After destroying more than 10 ancient stars, the power of the dim light was finally exhausted. At this point, in the void of the outer realm, there were already a large number of star beasts' corpses lying there quietly. Blood flowed like a river of stars, and a powerful aura emanated from it. Qin Shujian directly used the investiture of the gods to collect all the corpses and blood of the star beasts. Then, he looked into the depths of the void of the outer realm with a faint smile on his face. "Thank you for helping me." It was a simple sentence, but it was accurately transmitted to the ears of Bach and the others. Suddenly, the faces of the several demon emperors darkened. They did not expect that not only could Qin Shujian use the stars to set up the array, but he could also move the ancient stars and turn them into targets for the power of the blood sacrifice. What was even more unexpected was that there was actually a powerful living being in the stars. The power emitted from the broken stars was comparable to that of a demon emperor, and the weak ones were at the level of a demon emperor. Yuzwa's face turned ugly. "The creatures that appeared in the ancient stars seem to be the extinct star beasts." "That's right, they are star beasts." Bach nodded slightly, but his face was still terrifyingly gloomy. As early as the appearance of the outer realm, there were already star beasts. Unlike the void beasts, the star beasts were a much more powerful race. Not only did the star beasts feed on stars, but they would also devour anything other than stars. Many void demons were devoured by star beasts. In the end, only then did the demon emperors join forces to kill all the star beasts, causing this powerful race to completely disappear in the dust of history. From the extinction of the star beasts until now, tens of millions of years had passed. Star beasts. They were completely buried in the long river of time. If it were not for the appearance of star beasts in the ancient stars, Bach and the other demon emperors would never have thought of this. They would never have thought. There were still sleeping star beasts in those ancient stars, and they seemed to be much more terrifying than the star beasts that had been exterminated by the evil void demons. Just in the dozen or so broken stars, there were several demon emperors level star beasts. At this moment, the demon emperors all looked at the remaining 300 or so stars. There was no doubt that there were sleeping star beasts in the remaining stars. From the star beasts that were born, they could also deduce the approximate strength of the remaining sleeping star beasts. This was a very terrifying force. If all the star beasts were to awaken, then the void demons would not be able to play anymore. Even if the 3 demon emperors worked together, they would definitely not be able to compete with the star beasts. Even someone as strong as Bach. He also had no way to deal with too many demon emperors at the same time. After all, once they reached that level, even if there was a gap of a small realm, it was not to the extent that it could not be made up for. If there were too many low-level demon emperors, they could also kill top-level demon emperors. Bach said in a deep voice, "Those star beasts have been sleeping for so long, and did not come out until the stars were broken. There shouldn't be any problems in a short period of time. As long as we don't deliberately attack the stars, they won't wake up again. And when we get the origin of the great wide world, we have hope of prying into the power of the sacred demon level. At that time, even if the star beasts wake up, they won't be a threat to us." After going around in circles, The matter had returned to the origin of the great wide world. Bach said, "Although the blood sacrifice did not break the barrier of the great wide world, it broke many stars. I don't think they will be able to set up that formation again. Now that there is a gap in the barrier of heaven and earth, it is time for the void demons to attack." The blood sacrifice did not break the barrier of heaven and earth, but only some stars. Bach could only think of it from a different perspective, and comfort himself. Then, he directly ordered, "Bach clan, immediately attack the great wide world with all your strength." Embark clan, immediately attack the great wide world with all your strength. Yizwa clan, immediately attack the great wide world with all your strength. The other two demon emperors also immediately gave the order. As soon as they finished speaking, the three void demons immediately moved, and hundreds of millions of void demons rushed toward the great wide world. At the same time, Bado had already disappeared from the altar. In the void outside the realm, Qin Shujian felt something and directly punched the void in front of him. Boom! The void shattered like a mirror, and a vast dark power emerged. A pale palm reached out and collided with the fist. Instantly, the aftermath swept in all directions like a gale. Qin Shujian's body did not move. On the other hand, Bahito's palm cracked, and a powerful recoil forced him back. It was a simple exchange. The difference between the two sides was obvious. Qin Shujian slowly retracted his palm and looked at the person in front of him with his hands behind his back. He said with a faint smile, "I heard that the void demons have 4 demon emperors, and 2 of them have reached the 9th level of the immortal realm. So are you Moziaro or Bahadur?" Opposite him. At this moment Bach's indifferent expression had become serious. Qin Shujian's strength had completely exceeded his expectations. Ever since he broke through to the peak of the Demon Emperor realm, Bach had only suffered losses at the hands of the ancient Emperor of Heaven, Qin Tsung. Other than him, no one else could suppress him with strength. But now, only then did he feel immense pressure from Qin Shujian's body. That kind of pressure made Bach feel as if he was facing Qin Tsung again. At that time, Qin Tsung. He had not touched the power of a sacred demon and was only at the peak of the Demon Emperor realm. But even so, he was still much stronger than him. "I am Bach." Bach spat out a few words, but his gaze did not move away from Qin Shujian. He had also entered the long river of time in the universe and seen the scene of the Great Thousand World. The great calamity of the demon abyss. The Great Thousand World suffered heavy losses. It was not until more than 10 years ago that a true immortal was born. Bach could not believe that in just more than 10 years someone could go from just breaking through to the true immortal realm to the point where he could suppress him. Qin Shujian nodded, and then the smile on his face did not fade. "Why don't you call the other demon emperors out together? I am too lazy to do anything, so I can deal with them all together." "You are very arrogant." Bach was not angry, and his expression changed from shock to calmness. As he spoke, Emo Xialo and Yizua arrived at the same time. The 2 demon emperors had also seen the fight between Baido and Qin Shujian. At this moment, they did not have the slightest contempt for Qin Shujian. Qin Shujian said, 3 demon emperors, so you are all here. The power of the blood sacrifice earlier should be at the cost of the sacrifice of 1 demon emperor. To be honest, you don't have to do this. Because I originally planned to open the barrier between heaven and earth and have a good fight with the evil demon clan of the void. In the end, you are too impulsive. As he spoke, Qin Shujian shook his head and then sighed. His words were very harsh in the ears of Bach and the other demon emperors. The demon emperors could not maintain a good expression now. There were not many words. Bach suddenly attacked, and the power of darkness swept through the void, trying to devour Qin Shujian. The moment he attacked, Emo Xialo and Yizua also attacked at the same time. Facing the attack of the 3 demon emperors, Qin Shujian's expression did not change, but his mind was completely alert. The God Slayer fell into his hand. When he suddenly slashed out, The saber aura with the momentum to destroy everything rushed toward Bach and the other demon emperors. Boom! When the two powers collided, even the power of the ancestral armaments was directly shattered. Then, Qin Shujian threw the investiture of the gods in the direction of the passage of heaven and earth, stabilizing the passage that was about to close. At the same time, he took a step forward, and the terrifying aura of heaven's might erupted with a bang, completely suppressing the shattered void. He took a step forward. The stone saber slashed. The unparalleled aura swept out, and the faces of Bach and the other demon emperors changed again. Kill! Amo Xylo's face was cold, and the laws of nature filled his body. With every move, the condensed laws of nature broke through the void, and it was enough to suppress the void for eternity. A great battle broke out. In the vast thousand domains. Everyone could feel the vast power fluctuations outside through the passage of heaven and earth, which proved that there was a shocking battle happening there. Should we attack? A true immortal could not help but ask. Emperor Zhao clasped his hands behind his back, shook his head, and said, "There's no hurry. Wait for the Emperor of Heaven's order, then it'll be time for us to attack. Right now, the ones fighting with the Heavenly Emperor should be those few fiend emperors. A battle of that level is no small matter. If we attack now, just the aftermath alone will cause us heavy losses. A battle of 3 true immortals. The aftermath alone could annihilate living beings below the true immortal realm. Although tens of billions of cultivators were very strong, in front of an existence of that level, they could only be destroyed with a wave of their hand. Their target. It was never the demon emperors of the void, but the powerhouses below the demon emperors. As for the other cultivators, their target was the ordinary fiendish void devils. King against king. Generals against generals. Soldiers against soldiers. This had been the case in wars since ancient times. If the order was forcefully broken, then both sides would suffer heavy losses. Therefore, if they wanted to fight, they had to wait for the right opportunity. Otherwise, they would die in vain. If these tens of billions of cultivators were to perish, it would be a huge loss for the thousands of races in the great thousand world. Even though the power of the stars was rich now, it would not be easy to recover from this loss. Especially when the demon abyss was close. There was no extra time for them to recover. Hearing that, the other true immortals also calmed down. Since the Emperor of Heaven was not around, the 5 imperial emperors were in charge. Emperor Zhao was the leader of the 5 imperial emperors, so his words were equivalent to the Emperor of Heaven's orders in some situations. Therefore, the gods also suppressed the restlessness in their hearts. As the Zhao Emperor spoke, his gaze fell on the 2 people who did not fit in with the rest of the deities. He did not know Chu Kuangtu. However, he was familiar with Niu Dali's words. From the moment Niu Dali became an immortal, Emperor Zhao knew that Niu Dali was actually the reincarnation of an ancient powerhouse, and he was 100% a powerhouse from the era of destruction. An existence of that level. He had to be a powerhouse above the laws. The strange powerhouse who could stand next to Niu Dali was most likely an existence of the same level. In other words, both of them were reincarnations of existences above the laws. With the addition of the Emperor of Heaven, there would be a total of 3 reincarnations of existences above the laws. No, there's also a fallen sword master. In that case, there will be 4 of them. Emperor Zhao thought to himself. 4 existences above the laws were now reincarnated, so it was definitely not a coincidence. However, things on that level were not something he could understand now. Therefore, although Emperor Zhao had doubts in his heart, he could only suppress them for the time being. P.S. Monthly votes please. Chapter 741. At this moment, billions of void demons had already broken into the original range of the array. And in the sky above, Qin Shujian fought against Baido and the other demon emperors with his own strength. When the powerhouses of the various clans arrived, he only glanced at them, and then the cold light of the God Slayer shone brightly, forcing the demon emperors to retreat. Let's fight! These 2 simple words were directly transmitted into the boundless world. Immediately, the 5 imperial emperors all received the edict. They looked at each other, and Emperor Zhao shouted in a deep voice. The Emperor of Heaven has ordered that the otherworldly demons will be the vanguard to fight in the outer realm. As soon as he finished speaking, he directly crushed countless storage rings, and a stream of light, as vast as the stars, fell directly on each player's body. This is the soul-fixing talisman refined by the Heavenly Court. It can resist the god-destroying gale of the outer realm and also has the effect of resisting the divine sense attack of a celestial being powerhouse. As long as it is not above the 7th level of the celestial being, the soul-fixing talisman can block the divine sense attack. Hearing that, the players who were originally dissatisfied as the vanguard all held the soul-fixing talisman tightly at this time. Good stuff. It could resist the divine sense attack of a mighty being. Although it was rare for a real powerhouse to use divine sense as a means of attack, it was not completely impossible. With this thing, it was equivalent to having a life-saving means at least. Immediately, all the players put the soul-fixing talisman in their arms, and then orderly walked toward the Heaven and Earth passage. Just as the players walked into the Heaven and Earth passage, Emperor Zhao said, "The gods of the Heavenly Court will fight together. After the otherworldly demons leave, the other true immortals of the 10,000 races will lead the cultivators of the 10,000 races into the void battlefield." As soon as he finished speaking, he had already taken a step forward and walked toward the Heaven and Earth passage. The gods of the Heavenly Court, who had been waiting for a long time, also entered the Heaven and Earth passage at this moment. The Heaven and Earth passage looked very long, but from the time they walked in to the time they walked out, it only took a few breaths. When they walked out of the passage, their visions suddenly opened up. Is this the outer realm of the void? It's very similar to the universe of our real world. Chao Hong looked at the lonely void in front of him. His face was filled with emotion. He had not personally stepped into the universe, but he had seen it through some means. The universe of the void in his impression was no different from the outer realm of the void. At this moment, a god-destroying astral wind blew past. The godlock talisman in the player's pocket glowed slightly, blocking all of the god's slaying squall outside. Lu Qihong stepped into the void with a look of surprise on his face. The reputation of the outer realm is well deserved. Here, cultivators of any realm have the ability to fly. It was very difficult to distinguish the top from the bottom in the outer realm. Naturally, there was no distinction between the sky and the land. Everyone who appeared in the outskirts seemed to be supported by an invisible hand, allowing them to hover in the void and not fall down. Very soon, all the players recovered from their shock. They could clearly sense that there was a terrifying power above their heads that they couldn't see. It was as if there were supreme experts fighting there. "Look, something is approaching!" A player cried out in shock as he pointed to the front, his face filled with shock. Many other players also noticed the strange phenomenon in the distance. When the remaining people heard this, they raised their heads and looked to the front. Coincidentally, they saw an endless number of black figures approaching. The shadows were of different sizes. However, when all the black shadows gathered together, they seemed to cover the entire sky. Inexplicably, a strong pressure fell on the players' hearts. At the same time, the gods of the Heavenly Court walked out of the Heaven and Earth passage. Xiao Qingfeng said coldly, "Those are the void demons. According to the Emperor of Heaven, whoever kills the void demons will be rewarded." Void demons. All the players had only heard of the name of the void demons. They had never seen one before. Now that they saw the endless number of black figures, their hearts were shaken. "Kill!" Xiao Qingfeng took out the sky-breaking halberd. The cold halberd light had already cut through the gray void and directly slashed at the oncoming darkness. He couldn't be more familiar with the void demons. 1,000,000 years ago, Xiao Qingfeng had killed quite a number of void demon experts and had even fought with the demon emperors. 1,000,000 years later, when he faced the void demons again, his heart was still cold. Boom! The halberd light tore and directly bombarded the darkness. Immediately, the darkness collapsed. Many of the evil void devils didn't even have time to scream before they were killed on the spot. When the void demons died, there would naturally be crystals dropped. "Sky-breaking halberd, your Haut Sung!" A cold voice rang out, and soon after, darkness filled the air. Xiao Chunfeng held the sky-breaking halberd and took a step forward. He had already torn the darkness apart and revealed Yurwei's appearance. "I was wondering who it was. So it's you." Looking at Yurwei's, he raised his eyebrows slightly. 1,000,000 years ago, when he fought with the void demons, Yurwei's was already a demon emperor level expert. Hence, Xiao Chunfeng had some impression of him. However, at that time, his target was the demon emperor. Hence, he did not pay much attention to Yurwei's. Otherwise, a demon emperor would not have any chance of survival if he was targeted by a level 9 immortal. "Hao Tseng's reincarnation. It's really you!" Yurwei's eyes were filled with deep fear. Hao Tseng's reputation was deeply rooted in the hearts of the void demons. Even if he was facing Hao Tseng's reincarnation and had already become a top demon emperor, Yurwei's could not remain calm. Although he was afraid in his heart, he didn't show it on his face. 1,000,000 years ago, Hao Tseng was indeed amazing. Even the demon emperor was afraid of his strength. However, Hao Tseng has already fallen. Now that you've reincarnated, how much strength do you have? Today, if you kill Ben Huang, I'm sure the demon emperor will be very happy." Yurwei sneered. The power of darkness surged forth, setting off his aura to an astonishing level. The sky-breaking halberd in Xiao Chunfeng's hand emitted a terrifying light. "A little demon emperor dares to talk nonsense in front of me. You're courting death!" Boom! Zhu Bing's sky-breaking halberd, which had broken through to the fifth tribulation, emitted a terrifying light that instantly shattered the void. The sharp aura made Yurwei's expression change. There was no hesitation. Yurwei stepped back and avoided the sky-breaking halberd's light. Xiao Chunfeng took a step forward and approached Yurwei's. Although he was only a level 4 immortal, and Yurwei's was a level 6 immortal as a top demon emperor. However, as the reincarnation of immortal Lord Hao Tseng, his strength could not be measured by his realm. In addition, Xiao Chunfeng walked the path of physical sanctification, so his combat strength was stronger than the traditional path. Together with the fifth tribulation Zhu Bing's sky-breaking halberd, the strength he unleashed was already qualified to reach the level 7 immortal level. Although there was no way he could compete with a real level 7 immortal, he was definitely stronger than an ordinary level 6 immortal. Just as Xiao Chunfeng took the initiative to attack, the gods of the heavenly court also started a war with the void demons. There were strong and weak void demons. If it was a clan, the newly born void demon's strength would be around the true martial realm. The powerful void demons could also reach the true immortal realm. At this moment, tens of billions of players were fighting with the void demons. Boom! Zhao Emperor suppressed an early-stage Devil King expert with a single palm strike. The terrifying power instantly killed that Devil King expert. A crystal fell from it. He scooped it up with one hand, then set his eyes on a demon emperor. Even the weakest demon king could be exchanged for 10,000 true immortal merit points. If he could kill a demon emperor, he might be able to get 100,000 true immortal merit points. In this way, Great Zhao would have another god position. For Zhao Huang, having another god position in Great Zhao meant that there would be another expert who could stabilize the human race in the future. Boom! Zhao Huang struck out with his palm. Vast human Tao precepts surged like a raging sea, forcibly destroying the void within 1,000,000 miles. The terrifying power made the demon emperor's heart skip a beat. So strong! The power made him feel like he was facing a top-tier demon emperor. However, once the battle started, no one could retreat. Although the demon emperor was shocked, he was not afraid. He also struck out with his fist, and the power of darkness spread out. With a punch and a palm, the human Tao precepts forcibly broke through the power of darkness. The powerful force forced the demon emperor back. Next, Emperor Zhao stepped forward with his hands behind his back, easily suppressing the crumbling space. A powerful aura rose from his body, shocking the Demon Emperor. "Come and help me!" The Demon Emperor did not hesitate, and immediately asked for help from the other Demon Emperors. He had a bad feeling about Zhao Huang's strength. It was clear that Zhao Huang's true strength was comparable to a top-tier Demon Emperor. He had just become a Demon Emperor less than 100,000 years ago, and was still in the early stage. In comparison, there was a big difference in strength. Hearing that, another Demon Emperor from the Yizo clan stepped through the air. "Harry, what's wrong with you? You can't even deal with a puny human." Jarl looked at the Demon Emperor who had asked for help with some dissatisfaction. "Don't underestimate him. He's not weaker than a top-tier Demon Emperor." Harry shook his head, his expression grave from beginning to end. "A top-tier Demon Emperor?" Jarl was slightly shocked, and the way he looked at Zhao Huang had completely changed. He had been busy dealing with the other true immortals of the Heavenly Court, so he did not pay attention to the battle here. He did not know much about Zhao Huang's strength. At this moment, after hearing Harry's words, only then did Jarl understand why Zhao Huang had asked for help. According to the Demon Emperor, the Great Thousand World has only given birth to true immortals for more than 10 years, but now a top-tier Demon Emperor has been born. It's unusual. Information about the Great Thousand World. As a Demon Emperor, it was impossible for him not to know anything about it. However, the more he knew, the more Jarl was shocked. Logically speaking, the Great Thousand World had only given birth to true immortals more than 10 years ago, so they should be very weak. However, it was only when he started a war with the Great Wide World that he realized that the so-called weakness was just his guess. The strength displayed by the Great Thousand World shocked Jarl. At least until now. Soon, he discovered several Devil Emperors. One of them was the reincarnation of Hao Tsung, who had the combat strength of a top-tier Demon Emperor, and he was suppressing Yervis of the Mo's Halo clan. Apart from that, the one in front of him also had the strength of a top-tier Demon Emperor. To be honest, such strength was not much weaker than the experts of the 3 major clans. This was because there were only 8 Demon Emperors in the 3 major clans. Among them, there were only 2 top-tier Demon Emperors. Now, there were already 4 Demon Emperors in the Great Thousand World, including 2 top-tier Demon Emperors. No one could be sure. Did the other party have other hidden experts? Jarl was shocked and did not dare to take the initiative to attack. However, Emperor Zhao did not intend to delay. "Eastern God of War, let me borrow Zhu Bing!" He threw out a palm strike, and the palm energy covered Jarl and Harry. At the same time, he spoke loudly. On the other side, Xiao Chifeng, who was fighting with Yervis, did not hesitate. He instantly took out Nameless from his sea of consciousness and threw it at Emperor Zhao. The stone spear pierced through the void. It pierced through many void demons. Even a demon king could not dodge in time, and one of his arms was cut off by the stone spear. Emperor Zhao did not even look back. He grabbed the stone spear with a backhand grip, and then the spear tore the sky and the earth apart. The 2 Demon Emperors' expressions changed drastically. Boom! 10 cities fell with a loud bang, suppressing a large number of weak void demons. Qin Yuanbai, who had broken through to the 10th stage celestial being realm, held a city in his hand and charged toward a top-tier demon king. Kill! His hair and beard were all fluttering. The 5 Seal Dao artifact city erupted with endless power, and the top-tier demon king could not dodge in time. His body exploded, and he had to retreat while coughing up blood. Seeing this, Qin Yuanbai did not take advantage of the victory to pursue. Instead, he placed the city in the void and shouted sternly, "All the injured can enter this city to recuperate." Hearing this, cultivators and players from all clans immediately flew toward the city. The battle had not been going on for long. However, there were too many experts participating in the battle. Even if it was just an instant, a large number of experts had fallen, and countless people were injured. Now that the city was providing them with supplies, it was a life-saving existence for them. At this moment, some of the Void Fiends were charging towards the city. Immediately, a formation was activated above the city, isolating the void fiend outside. 1 month later, the human race spent an incalculable amount of materials and finally refined 10 5-seal Dao artifact-level cities. In the 10 cities, there were experts who carved the array, and then the 10 strongest 10th-stage celestial being experts of the human race recognized them as masters. As a result, even if a half-immortal personally made a move, there was no possibility of breaking the city. Not only that, when the other void demons attacked the city, there were even experts who used the city as a basis to counterattack, killing and injuring many void demons. "Are you okay? I won't die for the time being." "Huff!" Chao Hong panted violently. His originally complete clothes had become tattered at this moment, and his left arm had been cut off, becoming a one-armed hero. It was just that the powerful self-healing ability of a spirit martial realm cultivator caused the wound to heal automatically, so he would not bleed to death. Returning to the city, there was still a look of shock in Chao Hong's eyes. Tens of billions of players and hundreds of millions of void demons were fighting. It was impossible to tell who was who. After entering the game for so long, this was the first time he had participated in a war of this level. It was also the first time Chao Hong understood what it meant to say that human lives were like ants. The moment the battle began, the number of players who died was already uncountable. What spirit martial realm? What god martial realm? When the war broke out, they were all useless. Even celestial beings, if they were unlucky, could be drowned by all the attacks. Chao Hong was considered lucky. In the chaotic battle, he secretly killed 2 void demons and paid the price of an arm. He returned to the city to recuperate temporarily. Compared to Chao Hong, Lu Qinghong's condition was better. At least his body was not crippled, but if one looked carefully, there were many injuries on his body. "How is this a war? It's clearly a meat grinder. Whether you die or not depends on luck. How are you now? Do you want to revive yourself and recover your broken arm?" He spat out a mouthful of bloody saliva. His previous gentleness was gone. Chao Hong shook his head. "Reviving is a waste. Although I have a broken arm, I still have the strength to kill enemies. I'm close to leveling up. If I kill a few more spirit martial realm void demons, I can break through to the 9th spirit martial realm. If I die now, I will fall to the 7th spirit martial realm. It's better to revive after leveling up. Also, these things are hard to deal with, but they give a lot of experience." If he killed himself now, it was equivalent to losing 2 levels of experience. If he waited until he leveled up, he would only lose 1 level of experience. Also, his strength would not decrease by much compared to now. If it was before, Chao Hong was not confident that he could level up in a short time. But after killing the void demons, he suddenly realized that the experience given by this race was really high. Killing 1 void demon was almost equivalent to killing several monsters of the same level in the Great Thousand World. So, the difficulty of leveling up was not that high. "Leveling up is fine too." Lu Qinghong nodded slightly and then asked, "How many void demons did you kill? Did you get their crystals?" "How could I get them? It's good enough that I'm still alive." Speaking of this matter, Chao Hong couldn't help but complain. He managed to kill a few in the chaos, but in the end, he didn't have the chance to get the crystals. In Chao Hong's view, the exchange for merit points should be in terms of crystals. Just like in the 10,000 tribe battlefield, the exchange of merit points was based on corpses. "Could it be that you've gotten the crystal stone?" "Yes." Lu Qinghong nodded and then handed over a crystal with a strange expression. He said in a low voice, "Take a good look and see what this crystal does." "What can it do?" Chao Hong was also slightly curious as he took the crystal. However, in an instant, his expression had already changed. "This is an experience stone." Chao Hong suddenly raised his head and his gaze fell on Lu Qinghong, as if he wanted to get a definite answer. Lu Qinghong's face was solemn. "That's right, an experience stone. The crystals dropped by the void demons after they die. We can directly absorb them to level up. That is to say, We can get a lot of experience by killing the void demons. If we get the crystals, we can get another wave of experience. If we combine them, I'm afraid the nether demon's experience points are 10 times more than the normal monsters. 10 times. Chao Hong's breathing became hurried. What kind of concept was 10 times? In other words, if the players had 10 times the experience from killing monsters at the beginning, there might be players who had touched the celestial realm by now. Even if they hadn't broken through to the celestial realm, there would be a lot of god martial arts realm. After the excitement, Chao Hong's face darkened again. If the crystals are really the main material for exchanging merit points, then it's a bit of a scam. Wait until the end of this war, then we'll see the specific situation. Lu Qihong shook his head and then took away the crystal in Chao Hong's hand. If the exchange of merit points was really based on crystals, then it would be a difficult choice for the players. On one hand, it was the experience stone that increased experience. On the other hand, it was the merit points that could be exchanged for many resources. But it had to be clear. Players wouldn't be able to level up without restrictions just because they had experience. On the contrary, there were many things that limited the player's improvement. For example, cultivation methods were the most important things. After swallowing 2 pills and recovering his body's injuries, Chao Hong immediately stood up from the ground and walked out of the city. Let's go and kill the void demons! The experience was rich, and they could even drop experience stones. In Chao Hong's view, such monsters were walking treasures. If he didn't kill them, there would definitely be other players who would do their best to kill them. After all, the matter of the experience stones couldn't be hidden. The sooner he could kill enough void demons, the faster his strength would increase. Just as Chao Hong and the others were leaving the city, finally, some of the players discovered the use of the crystals. The crystals dropped by the void demons can directly increase experience and level. Damn, this monster even drops experience stones. F***CK, the void demons are all mine, no one can snatch them from me. When the news spread, all the players went crazy. The void demons already gave a lot of experience, and now they even dropped experience stones. They were moving treasures. No matter how many void demons there were in front of them. In the eyes of the players, it was far from enough. Suddenly, the players unleashed 120% of their passion as they charged towards the void demons without any fear of death. Anyway, they could recover if they died. Although they would lose levels, as long as they killed a few void demons and looted a few crystals, they could make up for it. If they could kill a few more void demons, it would be a profitable trade. Experience stones? What's that? The cultivators of the thousands of races had a puzzled look on their faces. Looking at the players who seemed to be on steroids, they couldn't make sense of it. But they didn't think too much about it. Now that the battle was about to start, no one dared to be distracted. Because once they were distracted, there wouldn't be a second outcome. Whoosh! Black sword energy poured down like a waterfall, looking exactly the same as the surrounding darkness, but also out of place. Soon, the black sword energy tore the darkness apart. Tri Jian Feng was expressionless as he killed the void demons one by one with his divine sword. His massacre attracted the attention of the strong cultivators of the void demons. Immediately, there were top demon lords who attacked him. Tri Jian Feng sensed something. When he took a step forward, his body suddenly dissipated, turning into hundreds of afterimages, moving in the void. This change made it difficult for the top demon lord to distinguish it. All of a sudden, countless afterimages gathered, and a shocking black rainbow shattered the void. It was so fast that even the naked eye couldn't catch it. How dare you! The demon lord was furious. With a wave of his hand, the dark energy shattered the sky and cracked the earth. Boom! The black rainbow's aura was shocking, forcibly tearing the dark energy apart. The terrifying sharpness made the demon lord's heart jump, and he retreated without thinking. Just as he retreated, the black rainbow in front of him suddenly disappeared, and Tri Jian Feng appeared behind him without him knowing. His long sword slashed out. It instantly tore the demon lord apart. Just as he killed the demon lord, a crystal fell. Tri Jian Feng reached out to grab the crystal, but his originally flawless body was torn apart. Void transference, it's still too difficult. Tri Jian Feng frowned and immediately took out a pill from his storage ring to swallow, healing the injuries on his body. Void transference. It was another attack that he created after breaking through to the diviner realm and combining the original 7 kills of gods and demons against the stars. As long as there was a place where his sword energy existed, Tri Jian Feng could directly teleport there. However, in order to achieve this, one would need to have a strong physical body. Because the physical body wasn't strong enough, there was no way to resist the void power that erupted in an instant when teleporting. Tri Jian Feng was walking the path of physical sanctification, and he had already cultivated the Purple Heaven Divine Lightning Scripture to the 7th level of the Divine Chapter. Only then could he barely resist this power. Or else, if he couldn't kill the enemy when he used it, he would be killed by the void power first. What a delicious taste! In the darkness, there was a blood cloud, and Si Hanhai's evil voice came from it. Then, a powerful fluctuation erupted, indicating that there was a fierce battle inside. What are you? Troy looked at Si Hanhai in front of him, his face full of shock and anger. When he first met Si Hanhai, he had a strong desire to devour him, so he directly attacked. But when it came to the real battle, Troy found that Si Hanhai's strength was not weak at all. He was only in the early stage of the Devil Emperor realm, but his strength was comparable to a middle-stage Devil Emperor expert. More importantly, Si Hanhai's means were extremely strange, and his fighting style was also very crazy. As a result, Troy was suppressed in a disadvantageous position even though their strength was about the same. If Ben Huang devours you, he should be able to break through to the 5th level of the immortal realm. Si Hanhai's scarlet eyes had a cruel and violent look. At this moment, he didn't look like a normal person at all. His mouth was much bigger than his face, and he was chewing a pale arm. Looking at the person in front of him devouring his flesh and blood, Troy's heart was filled with disgust. Ben Huang, I don't care what you are. You're going to die today! The dark power spread out like a tide, trying to break the blood cloud. At this moment, Si Hanhai had completely devoured the arm, and his mouth had returned to its original state. Stop struggling. It's your honor to help Ben Huang reach the 5th level of the immortal realm. As he spoke, the blood cloud frantically surged. Soon after, it transformed into a blood lotus and trapped Troy. Soon, the blood lotus shattered. The dark power on Troy's body completely erupted, and the long river of laws came crashing down. Seeing this, Si Hanhai was not afraid at all. Similarly, the long river of laws came crashing down. Rumble! The long river of laws collided in the void, and the aftermath of destruction spread out. Si Hanhai took a step forward and closed in on Troy. Stop struggling! Merge with Ben Huang! Looking at Troy in front of him, Si Hanhai licked his lips, and his eyes were full of desire. Just like the Void Demon wanted to devour him, he also wanted to devour the Void Demon. Si Hanhai had a hunch. As long as he devoured Troy, he could break through to the 5th level of the immortal realm and become the strongest expert in the heavenly court. As the first demon emperor, Si Hanhai didn't think he was weaker than others. However, he had to admit that there was a certain gap between his strength and that of Emperor Zhao and Xiao Chenfeng. However, as long as he broke through to the 5th level of the immortal realm, the so-called gap would naturally disappear. Hearing this, Troy didn't reply. However, in the face of Si Hanhai's attack, he didn't retreat either. At this moment, the 3 great clans of the Void Demon had launched a full-scale battle with the cultivators of the Great Thousand World. Combined, there were more than 100 billion cultivators participating in the battle. No one knew how long the battle line stretched. In terms of the top forces, the few demon emperors were entangled by Qin Shujian, and they didn't threaten the people of the heavenly court for the time being. However, below the demon emperors, the Void Demon had 8 demon emperors. Even if Emperor Zhao and Xiao Chenfeng were powerful, they could only stop 5 demon emperors. As for Si Hanhai's strength, although he could suppress Troy, he could only suppress 1 Troy. As for the Dog Emperor, he was locked in a fierce battle with a demon emperor. In this way, there was only 1 demon emperor left, and the other powerhouses of the heavenly court had to stop him. It was not easy for a true immortal of the lower 3 levels to stop a true immortal of the middle 3 levels. In addition, there were also many demon kings of the lower 3 levels of the true immortal realm in the 3 clans. Even though there were more than 1,000 true immortals in the heavenly court, there was still a big gap between them and the void demon. In the end, the heavenly court had been rising for too long. Ever since the war 1,000,000 years ago, the void demon had a chance to rest and recuperate. After 1,000,000 years, coupled with the long lifespan of the void demon, it wasn't difficult for a large number of true immortals to be born even if their strength increased slowly. Among the true immortals of the heavenly court, there were many 3rd-level immortals. Otherwise, the heavenly court would have fallen into a state of total collapse not long after the war broke out. Outside the battlefield, Chu Kuangtu and Niu Dali had no intention of intervening from the beginning to the end. They just watched coldly as the battle broke out. This was because their goal this time was not the other void demon, but the top demon emperors. What the 2 of them had to do now? It was to accumulate enough power and then wait for the right opportunity to strike. Do you think the heavenly court will lose? Niu Dali suddenly opened his mouth and said lightly. The heavenly court's success or failure doesn't depend on the gods, but on the Qin emperor. Chu Kuangtu naturally understood what Niu Dali meant and just replied calmly. Then he added, although the heavenly court's true immortals are few in number, their overall strength is not weak. Moreover, the gods left their names on the investiture of the gods, so they won't really die. As long as they have enough courage, they won't lose. What was courage? Niu Dali also knew in his heart. Then, he raised his head and looked up into the sky. There, the destructive power had blasted the void into powder. Ordinary eyes could not see through it at all. Only reincarnated experts like Niu Dali were not afraid of the destructive power and could see the scene inside. The Qin Emperor's strength is much stronger than I thought. 3 demon emperors can't do anything to him. The path he's taken is not simple. As the Mount of Supremacy Taiching in the First Era, Niu Dali's eyesight was incomparable to ordinary people. But even he couldn't see through Qin Shujian's strength. The only thing he knew was that the path that the other party had taken was definitely not any path that he knew of. In just a few years, he had reached the peak of the 9th level of Immortal and was even qualified to spy on the Dao fruit. Niu Dali was also surprised by such progress. Chu Kuangtu said, since the Qin Emperor dares to face death, he must have also obtained some opportunities in reality. The hope of this era may be placed on him. Maybe. Just as the 2 were talking in silence, in the void outside the domain, Qin Shujian's battle with Badu and the other demon emperors had reached a climax. He held the Godslayer in his hand and pushed the power of the 5 tribulations Zhu Bing to the limit. In his physical body, a huge amount of innate spirit qi was extracted from his inner world, causing his qi and blood to boil violently. The power that erupted was even more shocking. At this time, there was a dark force entwined with the rules. Qin Shujian shattered the power of darkness with a single slash of his blade. Then, without stopping, he broke into the long river of rules. Mo Xiaoluo grunted and was already retreating. A saber wound suddenly appeared on his strong physical body. But soon, dark force emerged and wiped away the remaining saber qi, causing the wound to heal directly. The moment Mo Xiaoluo was injured, Bok's attack was already close. Qin Shujian couldn't dodge in time. He directly opened his energy shield in an attempt to block the other party's attack. In an instant, the energy shield shattered and the dark force rushed over. Qin Shujian's physical body shook violently and faintly showed signs of cracks. Seeing this, Bok's pupils suddenly shrank. He was shocked by the strength of his opponent's physical body. Slash! Just as he was shocked, Qin Shujian had already slashed out with his saber. Bach's body suddenly disappeared on the spot, causing the saber light to hit empty air. On the other side, Yuzwa's attack had just arrived. I said I'm invincible. With that, the dark force bombarded Qin Shujian's body. This time, his physical body only shook a little, but he didn't suffer any injuries. Yuzwa was shocked. He could clearly feel that just now, a mysterious force emerged and weakened his attack by a lot. Just as he was shocked, Qin Shujian activated the Dharma Eye that he hadn't used for a long time and saw through the attributes of the Demon Emperor in front of him. He raised the Godslayer again. I said Yuzwa can't move! With that, Yuzwa suddenly found that the space around him had solidified. A mysterious force fell from the dark, as if to seal him. P.S. Monthly votes. Chapter 742. Boom! Yuzwa's body shook, and his rule power surged, forcefully pushing open the condensed space around him. At this moment, the God-Slayer had already slashed over. At the critical moment, the darkness that he transformed into instantly disappeared, directly avoiding the God-Slayer's blade. Boom! The void collapsed, and Yuzwa appeared in another direction. There was still a lingering fear on his face. Almost. Just a little more. If he was a little slower, even if he didn't die under the God-Slayer, he would definitely be severely injured. A shocked expression appeared on Bach's face. Absolute command! At his level of strength, he had some understanding of some mysterious methods. Absolute command. This was one of them. That kind of method was no longer something that a top-notch demon emperor could master. If he wanted to master absolute command, according to Bach's guess, he had to at least reach the sacred demon realm. In other words, the Qin Shujian in front of him was not as simple as a level 9 immortal. In an instant, Bach thought of many things, and then his expression when looking at Qin Shujian completely changed. I've always been curious as to why I haven't seen your existence in the long river of time. Now I understand. So you're the reincarnation of a sacred demon realm existence. No wonder you have such strength. At the end of his speech, Bachdo's eyes burned with passion. Sacred demon. This realm had always only existed in legends. Even he wasn't 100% sure that this realm really existed. So Bach wanted to plunder the source energy of the upper-class world, wanting to pry into that legendary realm. But now, he understood. The sacred demon realm really existed. Qin Shujian in front of him was the best proof. There was no past or future. This was not something that anyone could do. Coupled with the fact that Qin Shujian's words were the law, Bachdo could basically confirm Qin Shujian's background. The former sacred demon existence was now reincarnated. This also proved one thing, which was that even if one broke through to the sacred demon realm, they might not be immortal. At this moment, Qin Shujian's attack had arrived again. I said Yuzwa can't move! Space condensed. Dark energy and rule force surged, forcibly breaking through the seal. Yuzwa fled without thinking. I said Yizo can't move! However, just as Yizo was about to escape, Qin Shujian continued. Immediately, a mysterious power descended upon them. Seeing this, Yizwa's face turned green. What was the meaning of this? Of the 3 demon emperors present, why did they choose him to fight? Was it because he was the weakest and was easy to bully? Yuzwa had some understanding of what Bado meant when he said that his words were the law. But the problem now was, Qin Shujian stared at him as he fought. It was as if verbal compliance didn't consume any energy at all. He repeatedly used it, causing Qin Shujian to have no choice but to run for his life. Come and help me! Yizwa roared. He was about to go crazy. Qin Shujian was already stronger than him. Now, he was completely ignoring the attacks of Badu and Mo Xiaolua, the 2 demon overlords. In this way, Yuzwa's situation was even more dangerous. Hearing this, Mo Xiaolua didn't hesitate either. With a palm print, the dark corrosive power rose, and the entire outer space seemed to tremble slightly. Qin Shujian was alarmed. The next moment, He directly gave up attacking Yizua and turned around to slash at Emo Xiaoluo. Although his physical body was much stronger than ordinary 9th level immortals. However, no matter how strong his physical body was, there was still a limit. If he were to use his physical body to forcibly resist the attack of a demon overlord, it would not be an easy task. Boom! The blade energy collided with the dark power. On the petrified blade of the Godslayer, there was a terrifying killing power that awakened, as if it was a peerless killing god. Slash! Qin Shujian's eyes were indifferent. It was supposed to be an ordinary blade, but there was endless mystery born. In Emo Xiaoluo's eyes, it was as if there was no way to retreat. Such a change. Emo Xiaoluo was shocked. He saw his palm print directly colliding with the stone blade. A body of flesh and blood. Naturally, there was no way to resist Zhu Bing's edge. Suddenly, the palm cracked, and the entire arm was chopped off by the Godslayer. Just as the arm fell, before the blood had time to gush out, a new arm had already grown out from the cut. Broken limb rebirth. At the level of a demon overlord, it was as simple as eating and drinking. Sacrificing an arm. Emo Xiaoluo took this opportunity to withdraw. The entire process took place between messages. When he retreated, Baido and Yizua's attack had already arrived. I said I am invulnerable. As soon as the words fell, the attacks of the two demon overlords were immediately weakened. But it was only weakened a little. When the attacks fell, Qin Shujian's physical body also cracked. A powerful backlash force came from the unseen. It made the cracks in his physical body even more serious. After all, the power of words was not 100% effective. The stronger the powerhouse, the smaller the effect. And the more difficult the matter was, the greater the backlash. The injuries on the physical body. Qin Shujian did not even frown. He took a step forward and directly stepped on the void to collapse. The Godslayer suddenly slashed out. The 1,000,000-feet-long saber aura seemed to have covered the entire void. Boom! The terrifying power made the two demon overlords, Baido and Yizua, not dare to take it lightly. Suddenly, the power of darkness erupted. The two bombarded together, and the aftermath of silence was produced. Baido and Yizua coughed up blood and retreated. Qin Shujian, on the other hand, forced himself to endure the destructive shockwaves and move forward. Golden blood was flowing out of the already cracked mutton. I said there is no demon overlord in the universe. As soon as the words fell, the void outside the realm shook wildly. It was as if something had awakened, and a pair of indifferent eyes suddenly appeared. The indifferent gaze fell on Qin Shujian, making him feel as if he had been struck by lightning. His extremely powerful physical body burst and shattered like a bubble. A large amount of innate spirit energy emerged from his inner world. As his physical body continued to break and shatter, it was also constantly repairing it. At the same time, suddenly, a mysterious force descended upon them. The originally powerful aura of all the demon overlords also weakened at a speed visible to the naked eye. At that moment, the two top demon overlords directly fell to the early stage of the demon overlord realm. Yizua, who was originally a demon overlord, almost fell directly from the demon overlord realm to the demon emperor realm. Of course, this change was only for a moment. After the power of the absolute law dissipated, their strength would recover. At this moment, Chu Kuangtu and Niu Dali, who had been waiting for an opportunity, directly attacked. The shocking blade chi suddenly erupted, shaking the void and the universe violently. Chu Kuangtu stepped into the air, his long hair fluttering without wind. The long blade on his back had quietly fallen, and his pale right hand held the hilt. At that moment, everyone's eyes involuntarily fell on him. It seemed like a moment, but also like endless years had passed. Chu Kuangtu's right hand moved forward, and the long blade slowly pulled out of the scabbard. In the originally colorless void outside the realm, there was a different glow in his eyes. A white silk thread appeared out of thin air, and then the silk thread became bigger and bigger, and the color became more and more dazzling. In the end, It had become a blade light that occupied the entire void and universe. Heaven and earth blades slash. Since the fall of the Third Era, after endless years, Chu Kuangtu finally slashed out with the same blade. His target was none other than Baido. At that moment, Bach's heart beat wildly, and the shadow of death instantly covered his heart. He wanted to make a move. He wanted to resist. However, this top demon overlord sadly found that he seemed to be unable to do anything, because this blade had already frozen time and space. Just as the blade light was about to reach him, the effect of the absolute law finally disappeared. The power belonging to a top demon overlord had been awakened again. There was no time to think. Bach made a final struggle. The rule monument suddenly descended, blocking in front of the blade light. The next moment, the rule monument collapsed and shattered. The cold blade light directly sank into Bach's body, causing his top demon overlord body to instantly explode. There was a muffled groan. Bach's body suddenly scattered, turning into endless darkness, sweeping away the broken rule monument. It was also at this moment. A green ox came over on the long river of rules, and a hoof seemed to appear from the past and future, kicking Yi's chest hard. That powerful force. It directly dented Yi's chest, and his body flew through the void. Blood gushed out crazily from his mouth and cracked flesh. It was a sudden turn of events. It turned the situation around. At this moment, Mo Xiaoluo's strength had just recovered, and he immediately controlled the rule monument to suppress Chu Kuangtu and Niu Dali. Violent power. It caused the man and the ox to explode. Just as the rule monument was suppressing them, Qin Shujian resisted the pressure and reached out to take the investiture of the gods, which stabilized the passage, and instantly bombarded Mo Xiaoluo. The investiture of the gods was a top divine weapon. In addition, after Sanhua left his name, its power was even more peerless, and it had already reached the level of the fourth tribulation Zhu Bing. So, facing the suppression of the investiture of the gods, Mo Xiaoluo was also directly hit and fell from the void. Immediately afterward, the God Slayer slashed out. The endless sharpness forcibly tore the dark power apart, and almost split the body of the demon emperor into two. Such a serious injury. The moment Mo Xiaoluo reached out to recall the rule monument, it had already bombarded Qin Shujian. Seeing this, Qin Shujian slashed out with his sword and slashed hard on the rule monument. Suddenly, the powerful recoil force shook Qin Shujian and made him cough up blood. Even the flawless rule steel was shattered by the slash. Just as the rule monument flew back, Mo Xiaoluo immediately put away the rule monument, turned around, and disappeared into the endless void. The whole process. It all happened in an instant. From Chu Kuangtu and the others' attack to the demon emperor's escape, the situation was so fast that others had no time to react. He won't die! Qin Shujian gasped and looked sideways at Chu Kuangtu and Niu Dali, who were also in a miserable state. The injuries on his body. A large part of it came from the recoil of the absolute command. Now Qin Shujian was also very glad. Fortunately, what he had just said was that there was no demon emperor. If he had directly said that Baido and the other demon emperors had fallen, the heavenly Tao of the outer void would definitely have taken action. When the time came, he didn't know whether Baido and the other demon emperors would die or not, but he was definitely going to die. He won't die. Unfortunately, my strength hasn't recovered too much. Otherwise, he definitely wouldn't have had the chance to escape from that slash. Chu Kuangtu's face was cold. His broken body was constantly recovering at this time. However, the damage of the rule monument could not be recovered so easily. It needed to be wiped clean of the remaining rule power in the body before it could be truly recovered. Chu Kuangtu also felt a little regretful that he couldn't kill Baido with one slash. In the past, when he was in his heyday, he could even kill a Tao fruit expert with one slash of the heavens and earth. But now, in the face of a top 9th level immortal, he couldn't kill him with one strike. To be honest, Chu Kuangtu himself felt a little aggrieved. Qin Shujian said, Baido is very strong. If I'm not wrong, he's only one step away from the half-step Dao fruit realm. After all, you're only a 6th level immortal. Being able to seriously injure him is already your limit. The Heavenly Court has won this battle. Yes. A great victory. Although the three of them looked like they had been crippled, in fact, it was not difficult for their physical injuries to recover. On the contrary, Baido and Emo Xiaoluo's rule monuments were damaged, so their strength must have dropped a lot. Recovering from such an injury was not something that could be done in a short period of time. Although they didn't kill any demon emperors in this battle, they had already seriously injured 3 of them. In the future, the Heavenly Court would be under a lot less pressure when attacking the nefarious demon clan in the void. More importantly, after this battle, the Heavenly Court would definitely be able to open up a territory in the outer void. Boom! At this moment, a true immortal self-destructed. A true immortal self-destructed. The power was unparalleled. A demon emperor was caught off guard and was directly blasted black and blue. Just as the demon emperor was seriously injured by the power of the self-destruction, another true immortal who had been waiting for a long time suddenly attacked. Countless eyes appeared all of a sudden, quickly occupying the void. Next, golden light shot out from each eye and directly bombarded the demon emperor. Every ray of golden light possessed a terrifying aura. Countless golden lights bombarded the demon emperor, causing him to scream. Immediately after, a dark power erupted. The demon emperor endured the pain and punched out, destroying a large number of eyes. The moment the eyes collapsed, the Thousand-Eye Emperor's figure appeared, blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. He was also seriously injured. When the Thousand Eyes Emperor looked at the demon emperor, there was a look of determination in his eyes. Until now, whether it was the nefarious demon clan or the Heavenly Court, they had suffered heavy losses. The number of true immortals who had died had reached 3 digits. Even many of the Heavenly Court's gods had died in this battle. The one who had just self-destructed was one of the Zhou Tian constellations. Brother Yang, kill him. Remember to split the merit points between us. The Thousand-Eye Emperor suddenly roared and pounced forward. The next second, a destructive wave of energy exploded. That Devil Emperor expert was instantly hit by the explosion. At this moment, Shi Yang stepped through the air, his ancient bronze sword cutting through the void. Before the Demon Emperor could react, he had beheaded him with a single slash of his sword. The ancient bronze sword was a treasure bestowed to him by the Zhao Emperor. There were a total of 2 in the Great Zhao, both 6-sealed Dao artifacts. The previous one had self-destructed in the battle, and the remaining one was carried by Shi Yang. Moreover, after being reforged, the ancient bronze sword had been upgraded to an 8-sealed Dao artifact. Its edge was sharp and unstoppable. A heavily injured Demon Emperor naturally had no chance of blocking it. The Demon Emperor fell. Immediately, a crystal fell. With a wave of his hand, Shi Yang's immortal essence swirled and grabbed the crystal. Then he looked around, stepped into the air, and charged toward the other void demons. Chaos! Chaotic battle! Hundreds of billions of creatures fought, and millions of cultivators died every moment. Some were void demons, some were void demons. No one retreated because there was no way out. Boom! The sky-breaking halberd's terrifying halberd light fell, and half of Yervis's body was shattered. Then dark power emerged and repaired his body. At this moment, he no longer had the power of a top demon emperor. Even if he joined forces with the other demon emperors, he still couldn't fight against Xiao Chengfeng. Until now, it was a complete defeat for them. Hao Tsung. Yervis looked at Xiao Chengfeng with cold eyes, and fear had already appeared in his heart. The person in front of him was no longer the Hao Tsung from 1,000,000 years ago. But the pressure he gave him, it was even stronger than the Hao Tsung from 1,000,000 years ago. Because at that time, Hao Tsung didn't even look at him. Now, Hao Tsung's reincarnation was fighting with him. There was no comparison between the two situations. All of a sudden, Yervis received some information, and then, before Xiao Qingfeng's attack arrived, he took the lead to retreat. At the same time, he directly issued an order. The Demon Emperor has ordered all Ma Xiaoluo clan members to retreat. His voice wasn't loud, but it accurately reached the ears of every Ma Xiaoluo clan member. Suddenly, the void demons of the Ma Xiaoluo clan were slightly stunned, and then retreated like the tide. When the Ma Xiaoluo clan retreated, the Yizhou clan and Baido clan also retreated at the same time. Their attacks were fierce. When they retreated, they were also orderly. When the three clans retreated, they could only see the endless spreading darkness, like winter snow meeting the sun, dissipating step by step. The void demons retreated. The creatures and players of all races who were in the middle of the battle had yet to fully react. Some people were still unconsciously slashing and accidentally injuring many of their own. It wasn't until Qin Shujian's voice was heard that they completely woke up. The void demons retreated. The Heavenly Court used the Great Thousand World as the foundation to occupy the void within a radius of hundreds of millions of miles. Anyone who participated in the war will be rewarded according to their contributions. After that, 10 blood-stained cities directly occupied 10 positions with the Great Thousand World as the center. Hearing this, some people's hearts suddenly relaxed. Some people even sat powerlessly in the void, allowing their bodies to be lifted by the mysterious power in the void. "It's over! It's over, we won!" Some people murmured, while some people's faces were filled with ecstasy. They won! From the moment the void demons retreated, the Heavenly Court won. In other words, the strength of the Heavenly Court had taken a big step forward from its original foundation. Since the collapse of the ancient Heavenly Court 1,000,000 years ago, the strength of the myriad clans was terrifyingly weak. 200,000 years ago, the myriad clans' true immortals were extinct, and they had completely fallen to a low point. But now, the Heavenly Court had walked out of the Great Thousand World and defeated the void demons. This also proved that the strength of the Heavenly Court's myriad clans had truly recovered to its previous peak. Ancient glory. It would reappear again. At this time, the myriad clans had already begun to clean up the battlefield. In the previous chaotic battle, many void demons had fallen, and the dropped crystals were not completely picked up by people. There were still many crystals scattered in the void. Only now did they have the time to pick them up. In addition to that, the items dropped by the myriad clan's cultivators and some players' deaths were also lying in the void. Right now, what they needed to do was to collect all the valuable items. On the battlefield, any spoils of war were actually their own. Naturally, they would not let go of this opportunity to fish for benefits. Especially those players. After knowing that the crystals could increase his experience, he was completely focused on the crystals of the evil void demons. "The experience stones are mine, don't snatch them. Bool Shasterisk T, I clearly saw them first. How dare you snatch from me, you're courting death!" Boom! Boom! In the process of picking up the crystals, there were many furious players who attacked, causing the situation to become somewhat chaotic. Seeing this scene, a true immortal directly attacked and killed the players who started the fight. Then, he coldly shouted, "No one is allowed to start trouble without permission. Those who violate the rules will be killed without mercy." Then, he attacked and killed many players. The players who were originally ready to make trouble immediately extinguished the anger in their hearts. It was not easy to survive the war. If they were killed by their own people, then the joke would be too big. So, under the deterrence of a true immortal, they were much more civilized when picking up the crystals. On the other side, Qin Shujian also appeared. The remaining gods of the Heavenly Court all bowed and greeted. "Emperor of Heaven! The Heaven and Earth passage needs a true immortal to guard it to ensure that the passage will not be healed by the power of Heaven and Earth. From now on, the Heavenly Court will take turns guarding the Heaven and Earth passage, rotating every year. The purpose is to prevent news of the Heaven and Earth passage, and also to prevent the void demons from sneaking into the Great Thousand World," Qin Shujian said in a clear voice. Now, the injuries on the surface of his physical body had already healed, and outsiders could not see any clues. Hearing this, the gods of the heavenly court naturally had no objections. Clean up the battlefield with all your strength, and then arrange for the true immortals of the 10,000 races to guard the cities to prevent the void demons from counterattacking again. At the same time, order the 10,000 races to build cities with all their strength and perfect the defense line in the outer realm. Qin Shijian paused for a moment, then continued. In addition, count the losses of the various races. The exchange of merit points will be based on the crystals of the void demons. Also, spread this news. We obey. The gods accepted the order. In the heavenly court, in the heavenly palace, Qin Shijian sat on the throne, and below him stood the gods who had returned from the outer realm. But compared to before the war, now, the number of gods had been reduced by half. At this moment, the scene was a little dull. No one spoke first. Although the war was won, but the various races had suffered heavy losses. In the past, there were very few true immortal experts who had died, but now, the number of them who had died was countless. In the hearts of many people, they could not help but feel sad for the loss of the rabbit. All of a sudden, the investiture of the gods that had been silently lying on the table seemed to have been stimulated by something, as it rose from the table. The list that was only a few feet tall suddenly became a few hundred feet tall. On the list, names were listed one after another. Some of the names were glowing brightly, while some of the names were dim, and one could only vaguely see the glowing spots. The investiture of the gods had changed. The gods couldn't help but raise their heads to look in that direction. At the same time, they also felt a bit of hope. Emperor of Heaven, you are! The dog emperor looked up at the investiture of the gods with a faint expression of excitement. If he remembered correctly, during the heavenly court's investiture of the gods, any true immortal who left their name on the investiture of the gods would leave a trace of their true spirit within. And according to what Qin Shijian said, even if those who were on the investiture of the gods died, they would still be able to be reborn within the investiture of the gods. However, ever since the heavenly court's investiture of the gods, no true immortals had died, so they were not sure if the investiture of the gods could truly allow one's true spirit to be reborn. Until now. Only after the investiture of the gods had changed did the gods remember this matter again. The other true immortals also looked at the investiture of the gods with burning gazes. They really wanted to know. Could the investiture of the gods really allow a fallen true immortal to be reborn? Qin Shijian said. This emperor once said that anyone who left their name on the investiture of the gods would leave behind a trace of their true spirit. Even if they died, they would still be able to be reborn within the investiture of the gods. Today, this emperor will let all of you see how a fallen true immortal can be reborn. After saying that, Qin Shijian formed a hand seal that landed directly on the investiture of the gods. Instantly, a vast amount of energy surged in from all directions. Then, the investiture of the gods shone brightly. The name that originally belonged to the Thousand Eyes Emperor suddenly flashed. Then, a faint figure walked out from the investiture of the gods. Vast amounts of spirit energy and star energy gathered, causing a huge gust of wind to blow in the heavenly palace's inner hall. The spiritual energy was extremely rich. It was absorbed by the faint figure. Not long after, the originally blurry figure gradually solidified. Boom! Spirit energy spread out. The Thousand Eyes Emperor had already reappeared in the main hall. Thank you, Emperor of Heaven, for helping me to be reborn. The Thousand Eyes Emperor bowed, his face filled with excitement. Reborn! He was really reborn. When he self-destructed, he was only trying to win this possibility. The Thousand Eyes Emperor was not sure if he could be reborn within the investiture of the gods. Now, however, he no longer had any doubts. On the other side, the gods were also shocked. Although they knew that the investiture of the gods had the means to allow people to be reborn, when they saw this scene for themselves, it was still shocking. At this moment, another faint figure walked out from the investiture of the gods. They saw that all the spirit energy in the heavenly palace was now gathering towards the heavenly palace. The Zhou Tian star map above his head emitted endless energy, connecting with the stars in the outer space and drawing the energy from within. Although many of the ancient stars were broken. But in reality, there was never a need for a fixed star to absorb the power of the stars. As long as there was a star in the outer space, it could be absorbed by the heavenly palace. It was just the distance that determined the strength of the star power. The faint figures of experts walked out from the investiture of the gods, then absorbed the spirit energy of heaven and earth, as well as the power of the stars to recover their own losses. Half a day later, in the heavenly palace, the true immortals who had fallen in the battle had all been revived. At this moment, the investiture of the gods descended from the sky and returned to the table. Qin Shijian said, "The investiture of the gods can rebirth you, but there is no way to completely restore your strength to your previous peak. Now your physical bodies are only condensed from spirit energy and the power of the stars. The subsequent recovery will depend on you." The investiture of the gods could revive the fallen true immortals, but it could not restore the revived true immortals to their previous peak strength. Because it was very difficult to do so. Even the investiture of the gods in the third era did not have this possibility. Hearing this, a respectful expression appeared on the Thousand-Eye Emperor's face. "It is already fortunate that we were able to be revived. The loss of our strength is only a matter of time. It is just the recovery period. I am afraid we will not be able to contribute to the heavenly palace." It was good enough that they were still alive. At least it proved that they would not truly die. With this backup plan, the Thousand-Eye Emperor did not have to worry about accidentally dying in the hands of other experts in the future. As for the loss of strength, compared to being able to be reborn, it was not worth mentioning at all. The other gods who had been resurrected had the same attitude now. On the other side, Xiao Chengfeng asked, "May I ask, Emperor of Heaven, if all the dead cultivators can be reborn in the investiture of the gods, then can the true immortals who have exhausted their lifespans be revived as well?" Hearing this, the others were suddenly awakened. They looked up at the person on the throne, wanting to hear the answer from him. That was right. If the investiture of the gods could revive the fallen true immortals, then what about those who have exhausted their lifespans? After all, true immortals were not immortal. Although a lifespan of 129,600 years was a long time, there was a limit. If the investiture of the gods could really do that, then the quota for the deity position would be more important than they had expected. Qin Shijian shook his head slightly. The lifespan limit of a true immortal is set by the laws of heaven and earth. Although the investiture of the gods is powerful, it is not completely free from the restrictions of the laws. Therefore, any true immortal who has exhausted their lifespan cannot be reborn in the investiture of the gods. Of course, if they forcefully retained some of their true spirits, that would not be a problem. But as long as their true spirits are exposed, they will attract the punishment of the lightning tribulation. At that time, only death awaits them. Hearing this, the gods all had regretful expressions on their faces. What a pity! The investiture of the gods was not really omnipotent. However, when they thought about it, they felt relieved in their hearts. If the investiture of the gods could really break the lifespan limit of heaven and earth, then this treasure would really be too heaven-defying. Even if there was no way to break the lifespan limit. With the current effect, it was enough to tempt people. How are the casualties of the 10,000 races now? Tell me, Qin Shijian said. The war had temporarily ended. In terms of the casualties, he needed to have a certain understanding. Hearing this, Emperor Zhao stepped forward, cupped his hands, and said, "A total of 325 true immortals and 23,716 cultivators above the 7th level of the celestial being realm died in battle. 375,121 celestial being realm cultivators died in battle. About 3,756,730,000 cultivators below the celestial being realm died in battle. In the inner hall of the heavenly palace, the joy on the faces of the gods instantly disappeared. In Emperor Zhao's cold tone, every word represented the fall of countless cultivators. Among the 10,000 races, there were only 10 billion cultivators who fought. Now, 1/3 of them had been lost in the battle. The losses could be said to be heavy. Among them, the number of true immortals who died in the battle also shocked them. More than 300 true immortals of the 10,000 races had died in the battle. In addition to the true immortals who had just been resurrected in the heavenly court, the number of true immortals who had died in the battle this time had reached 500. It was just that the true immortals of the heavenly court could be resurrected, but the true immortals of the 10,000 races could not be resurrected. Qin Shujian's expression was calm, but his eyes were cold. How many enemies did you kill? The number of enemies killed is still being calculated. A large number of cultivators died in this battle, and most of the crystals fell into the hands of the cultivators of the 10,000 races and the mutants. Only by collecting those crystals can we calculate a rough number. Emperor Zhao shook his head. The battle was chaotic, and no one had the time to calculate how many enemies they had killed. The battle losses could be calculated because each race had a number. However, there was no way to unify the number of enemies killed. Qin Shijian nodded and said, "Don't worry about those below the true immortal realm for the time being. What I need to know is how many true immortal void demons were killed. Does Emperor Zhongyuan have a corresponding value for this?" "Yes." Emperor Zhao said in a deep voice. 721 demon kings and 2 demon emperors were killed. Demon kings represented the lower 3 true immortals. Demon emperors represented the middle 3 true immortals. Compared to the experts who died in the heavenly court, the number of true immortals who died in the void demons was about 200 more. When the gods of the heavenly court heard this, their expressions became much better. That was right. They had suffered great losses, but so had the void demons. Moreover, with the resurrected true immortals, the heavenly court had indeed won this battle. However, what really caught Qin Shujian's attention was the death of the demon emperor. "Which one of you killed the demon emperor?" As soon as he finished speaking, Shi Yang and Si Hahai stepped forward at the same time. "Very good." Qin Shujian finally smiled. "The 2 of you were able to kill the demon emperor. As expected of the heavenly court's experts. You have contributed greatly in this battle. You should be punished for your mistakes, and you should be rewarded for your contributions. I will make the decision to bestow a deity position to each of you. Anyone who is at least the 10th level of the celestial realm can inherit this deity position and become a member of the heavenly court." Bestowing a deity position! When they heard this, Si Hahai and Shi Yang's eyes shone brightly. Soon, the 2 of them bowed and accepted the order. "Thank you, Emperor Heaven." Then, they straightened up and left again. A deity position was equivalent to 100,000 true immortal merit points. It was an irresistible temptation for anyone. As for the exchange of merit points, I will set up corresponding places in various cities in the outer realm. Crystals of different grades can be exchanged for merit points. As he spoke, Qin Shujian stretched out his hand, and something that looked like a scale appeared. This item was personally refined by me. Although it's not a powerful divine weapon, it's still very useful. Any crystal placed in it will show the corresponding merit points. I'll leave this matter to Emperor Zhongyuan. Qin Shujian put the scale into his storage ring. Then, he saw the ring being held up by an invisible hand and dropping it in front of Emperor Zhao. Seeing this, Emperor Zhao put away the storage ring. From now on, all races will build cities in the outer realm to stabilize the heavenly court's territory. At the same time, send cultivators to hunt down the void demons and find out where the major clans are. When the time comes, the army will rise and wipe out all the void demon clans. We obey. You may all leave. Yes. The gods bowed and left. Soon, only Qin Shujian was left in the heavenly palace. Now, he was also thinking about some things. The heaven and earth barrier had been opened. The heavenly court's conquest of the outer realm had officially taken an important step. With the heavenly court's current strength, there was no way to completely kill the void demons. However, being able to occupy the void territory was also a good thing for the heavenly court. Although the outer realm was dry and lonely, there were actually many resources. Or else, even the void demons and void beasts wouldn't have grown to such a level. Needless to say, just the stars in the outer realm were supreme treasures that could not be ignored. Those ancient stars have powerful star beasts, which are quite troublesome. However, looking at the current situation, the star beasts should be in a deep sleep. After so many years, the star beasts haven't woken up. They shouldn't wake up in a short period of time. Or else, with so many star beasts appearing, it won't be easy for the heavenly court to deal with them. Qin Shujian fell into deep thought. The so-called won't be easy to deal with was just a formality. If the star beasts sealed in those stars were as powerful as the ones that appeared before, then the power of the star beasts would definitely be much stronger than that of the void demons and the heavenly court. Although the void demons were very powerful, in fact, they only had 3 demon emperors. As for the heavenly court, Qin Shujian was the only one in the upper 3 true immortal realms. As for the star beasts that broke out of the seal before, there were no less than a few in the upper 3 true immortal realms. Needless to say, just 1/10 of the remaining 300 or so true immortals were enough to hang the void demons and the heavenly court up and beat them up. This was the difference in strength. Qin Shujian was not sure whether there were powerful star beasts in those ancient stars. However, even if it was him, he would not be able to see through the truth before he broke through the stars. As such, those ancient stars outside the great wide world were equivalent to time bombs that could explode at any time. Even if he moved those stars away, it would not be of much use. This was because although the outer realm was vast and boundless, there was also a limit. If the star beasts really broke out of the seal, even if they were thrown to the ends of the earth, those star beasts would still be able to find them. In a short period of time, Qin Shujian didn't have a way to solve this problem perfectly. Those ancient stars are not only a time bomb, but also a supreme treasure. At least for now, the heavenly court needs to absorb the power of the stars there to nurture enough powerhouses. However, there are not only ancient stars in the outer realm, but also other weaker stars. Those stars are also rare treasures. Qin Shujian was already thinking about what he should do in order for the heavenly court to reap enough benefits. According to his initial guess, it was to open the barrier of heaven and earth, and move those ancient stars in so that the great wide world could directly face the illumination of the stars. However, those ancient stars were now time bombs. It would be fine if they exploded in the outer realm. At most, everyone would retreat into the barrier of heaven and earth. Then, the star beasts would have no chance of breaking the barrier. However, if these bombs exploded in the great wide world, it would be a real disaster. Therefore, there was no need to think about those ancient stars. Qin Shujian had no choice but to turn his gaze to the other stars. There should be no star beasts on those stars. This was because in ancient times, many powerhouses broke the stars and dug out the star sulfur. If there were star beasts, countless powerhouses in ancient times would have died. Breaking the stars and stealing the star sulfur is the most wasteful way. The real reasonable use should be to move the stars to the great wide world and let everyone be able to cultivate directly with the power of the stars. Qin Shujian thought to himself. In the past, he did not know the true details of the star sulfur, but now he knew very well. It was to break the stars and dig out the energy at the core of the stars. In fact, the energy of the stars was not just the core. Strictly speaking, the entire star was a combination of energy. Once the star was broken, it was equivalent to giving up 80% of the energy, and only digging out the remaining 20%. It was just that the ancient heavenly court did not have the means to absorb the power of the stars. Qin Shujian was relieved. However, now, there is no way to move the stars. There was a bitter smile on his face. In the battle with Baido and the other demon emperors, he had also been seriously injured. Although it was not obvious on the surface, he was already full of holes inside. If he really attacked again now. Not to mention the demon emperors. Even if it was a top demon emperor, Qin Shujian might not be able to take him down on the premise that he did not damage his foundation. Therefore, the most important thing now was not to fish for any benefits in the outer realm, nor to do anything earth-shattering, but to recover from his injuries first. Only his injuries were healed. Only then would he have a way to take the next step against the Void Evil Demon clan. It could be said that the current Heavenly Court should be at its weakest. If the Void Evil Demons were to counterattack, the Heavenly Court would most likely be defeated. However, Qin Shujian wasn't too worried about this. Because he was seriously injured, the other demon emperors were not much better off. In the previous battle, they were not frightened, but they were definitely not in a good state. In a short time, the Void Evil Demons would not be able to make any big moves. Let's take it slow. This is just the beginning. If we fight to the death with the Void Evil Demon clan now, the Heavenly Court's foundation will be completely exhausted. Qin Shujian shook his head inwardly. Then, he calmed his mind and silently absorbed the power of the stars to recover from his injuries. In the current inner world, it also caused a lot of tremors. Because of the battle with the experts and the absorption of a large amount of innate spiritual qi, the spiritual qi in the inner world fell into a relatively thin state, which indirectly caused some tremors. But because of the existence of the dragon vein and many other spirit veins, the spiritual qi lost was quickly replenished. Therefore, the tremors in the inner world did not last long and gradually calmed down. In addition, there were only 2 living beings in the inner world now, so there was no aftermath. At most, Jianmu followed suit. Because of the change in spiritual qi, there was some attention. Just as the Heavenly Court was resting, the nefarious fiend clan of the Void was also licking their wounds. In a floating continent, there was a large number of Void Evil Demons, and in the center of the continent, there was a palace. In the palace, Emo Xiaoloa sat in the main seat, while the 2 demon emperors, Yelvis and Longfellow, stood below, trembling. They did not dare to sit in their seats at all. How did Troy fall? A cold voice sounded, causing the 2 demon emperors to tremble again. Then Yelvis hurriedly replied, Demon Emperor, Troy fell in the hands of an expert from the Great Thousand World. Humph, trash! Emo Xiaoloa scolded angrily, and a terrifying aura rose from his body. Hearing this, the 2 demon emperors did not dare to speak. They knew that Emo Xiaoloa was in a bad mood because of the defeat of the Elvis. At this time, if anyone spoke carelessly, they might hit the muzzle of the other party's gun. Killing a demon emperor. For the demon emperor, it was a piece of cake. Not to mention, now that both Yelvis and Longfellow were seriously injured, the strength that they could exert was extremely limited. The atmosphere in the palace was heavy. After a long while, Emo Xiaoloa said coldly, Since Troy has fallen, a new demon emperor must be born. Only the strong have the qualifications to become the demon emperor. The strongest demon king in the clan can get a chance to enter the devil's pool. I'll leave this to you, Yelvis. Demon Emperor, don't worry, I'll take care of it properly. Yelvis bowed his head and accepted the order. Okay. Emo Xiaoloa's face looked better, then he looked at the 2 demon emperors and said, You have some merits in this battle, so I'll make an exception and open the devil's pool to let you enter once. How much benefits you can get depends on your own luck. Yelvis and Longfellow heard this, and their hearts beat violently. The devil's pool. That was the treasure of the Emo Xiaoloa clan. The devil's pool contained powerful energy, which could be used to break through realms and also to heal injuries. They were seriously injured in this battle, and it would take at least a few thousand years to recover. If they could enter the devil's pool, this time could be shortened to a negligible level. A month later, I'll open the devil's pool. When his voice fell, Emo Xiaoloa had already disappeared. In this battle, he was also seriously injured. If it weren't for the clan's affairs that needed to be dealt with, Emo Xiaoloa would have entered a deep sleep and then healed his injuries. After all, the law monument had collapsed. Such an injury had already greatly reduced his strength. Although it wouldn't fall from the Demon Emperor realm, there was no way to exert the strength of a top Demon Emperor. Unless he could repair the Law Monument. But to do this, there was no way in a short time. It could be said that the nefarious demon clan of the Void had suffered heavy losses in this battle. Damn it! If it weren't for the blood sacrifice of the Boyle clan, my nefarious demon clan of the Void would never have lost this battle. In the depths of the Void, Emo Xiaoluo's face showed hatred. But soon, his body disappeared and turned into a boundless black shadow. He slowly absorbed the power of the Void to heal his injuries. Chapter 743. The Boundless World. Looking from the outer realm, one could only see the colorful heaven and earth barrier. For many people, it was their first time seeing the real heaven and earth barrier. Because in the boundless world, to see a corner of the heaven and earth barrier, one had to walk to the limit of the heaven and earth barrier. And even then, what they could see was only the tip of the iceberg. It was completely different from what they saw in the outer realm. With the boundless world as the center, the heavenly court set up 10 cities as the foundation to enter the outer realm. Qin Shujian also ordered the heavenly court and the other races to build other cities to stabilize the foundation of the outer realm. However, the void outside the realm was different from other places. Not every city had the right to exist in the void. Although the god-destroying squall attacked the spiritual god, it didn't mean that there was no physical damage. Although the physical damage wasn't high. But one had to condense physical invulnerability to be qualified to resist it. In addition, the outer realm could start a war with the demons at any time. Naturally, the construction of the cities couldn't be sloppy. Even if they didn't reach the level of 5-sealed Dao artifact like the first 10 cities, they still had to enter the ranks of Dao artifacts. Or else, they wouldn't be of any use in the outer realm. It had been 2 days since the end of the war. After cleaning up the battlefield, some players and cultivators of the other races consciously returned to the boundless world. But there were also some people who stayed in the outer realm. Among this group of people, the majority were players. Because in the eyes of the players, there were a large number of demons in the outer realm. And the experience points that the demons could give were much more than the monsters in the boundless world. In addition, the heavenly court was unified. It was also difficult for players to kill monsters and level up. The reason was very simple. Because the heavenly court was unified, the other races were basically on the same side. There were fewer confrontational missions. Killing cultivators of the other races for no reason would attract the heavenly court's pursuit. If the players wanted to level up, they could only kill wild monsters. But there were tens of billions of players in the 4 continents. No matter how many monsters there was a limit. So, most players had already bid farewell to the era of killing monsters to level up. Instead, they used hard work to improve their strength. But now, the opening of the extraterritorial void once again reminded these players of the joy of killing monsters. Even if the extraterritorial void was extremely dangerous, it did not matter much. In any case, they wouldn't really die in the game. At most, they would just lose a level. The evil void demon gave him an abundance of EXP. Even if he lost a level, he could quickly make up for it. All of his problems were no longer a problem. However, now that the war had just ended, many of the players had suffered heavy losses. They wouldn't be able to venture into the void to search for traces of the void demons for the time being. Instead, they stayed in the city and rested for a while. Only when the facilities in the city were complete, and he had replenished his energy reserves, would he be able to leave the city. As such, now, there were a large number of players in the 10 cities. Fortunately, the city was a Dao artifact, so it could change its size at will. At this moment, the 10 cities had transformed into a majestic city that spanned millions of miles, pressing down on the void. There were groups of guards. They were also patrolling the city to prevent the void demons from sneaking in. These merchants have a keen sense of smell. It's only been 2 days since the war ended, and they have already opened more than half of the restaurants and inns in the city. I heard that in a few days, the elixir stores and weapon stores will be almost complete. In a restaurant, a few players were sitting around. Some of them shook their heads and sighed. Making money from the war is the most profitable. It's just that we don't have the chance. Otherwise, we could also take advantage of this opportunity to make a fortune. Lu Qinghong shook his head. He didn't have any objections to this. Just like in the myriad race battlefield, those who could occupy land and open inns in such a place must have a powerful force behind them. Such a place. It was no longer something that could be described as expensive. Even if one had the money, they didn't have the qualifications to open it. Because in addition to money, one also needed to have connections. As long as one could open a shop here, there was absolutely no possibility of losing money. Lu Qinghong was also a little jealous. But there was no other way. He was just a small player. If he wanted to open a shop in the city, he had to at least have connections with the upper echelons of the myriad race. Or else, ordinary experts of the myriad race had no possibility of interfering. As for players, there was no need to talk about it. I heard that merit points are indeed exchanged with crystals. What do you think? Chao Hong turned his head to look at the others and asked. Hearing this, immediately, a young male player said, Crystals can provide experience points and can directly increase our strength. As for merit points, it depends on what it can be exchanged for. If it's not useful, we might as well use it. If the item is precious, then it's another matter. After all, some things are difficult for us to obtain with our status. As for experience points, we can get them by killing monsters. It's just a matter of how much. That's right, that's true. Lu Qinghong also nodded. Whether or not experience stones could be exchanged for merit points depended on what merit points could be exchanged for at this stage. If it was useful, it would naturally be exchanged for merit points. If it was useless, then he would eat it himself and directly increase his realm. Chao Hong said, 1,000,000 celestial merit points can obtain the resources to become an immortal. 100,000 true immortal merit points can obtain the deity position of the heavenly court. I heard that if you leave your name on the heavenly court's investiture of the gods, you won't really die. In this battle, many gods of the heavenly court fell, and it seems that they have all been resurrected. The deity position of the heavenly court is useless to us. We players can be resurrected. Whether we leave our names on the investiture of the gods or not, it shouldn't be of much use. Someone shook his head and said, Players could be resurrected after dying, but they would only lose a realm. If there were really 100,000 true immortal merit points, only a fool would exchange for the deity position. If they used it to exchange for cultivation resources, they might be able to increase their strength by a lot. Lu Qinghong said, It's not like that. If you leave your name on the investiture of the gods, you can enter the heavenly court as an official. Once you enter the heavenly court as an official, it's equivalent to status. Sometimes, the benefits of status are not comparable to other things. In his opinion, the greatest temptation of the investiture of the gods to players was the symbol of status. It was an indisputable fact that the status of players was low. All races rejected players. Or rather, it was the Emperor of Heaven of the Heavenly Court who rejected players, causing their strength to decrease day by day. If they could leave their name on the investiture of the gods, then even if they couldn't turn the tables, they could at least have a high status. With their status, the benefits they could reap from it could be imagined. Of course, for the cultivators of all races, the greatest temptation was still resurrection. After all, as a native creature, once they died, they would really die. If they could leave their name on the investiture of the gods, they would have an immortal body. It's just that we're talking about the investiture of the gods now. If you want to get the true immortal merit points, you have to kill a true immortal. The weakest true immortal, with the strength of the current players, there's no possibility of fighting against him. Even if everyone works together, it's impossible to kill a true immortal. If you want to get the true immortal merit points, you have to at least become a celestial before you have the qualifications to consider it. Lu Qinghong added in the end. Not to mention true immortal merit points, even celestial merit points were something that few players could obtain at this stage of the game. When the other players heard this, they also felt relieved. Let's go and take a look. Lu Qinghong stood up to pay the bill, and then the few of them walked downstairs. Just as they walked down the stairs, a group of players came towards them. The two groups of players couldn't help but stop in their tracks. After looking at each other for a few seconds, they passed by each other. After they were completely out of the restaurant, Chao Honkai smiled and said, Li Zongwen and the others are also here. It seems that many people have their eyes on the outer realm. That's for sure. For players, this is a treasure land for leveling up. How could they not come? Lu Qinghong sneered. It was normal for them to come. If these people didn't come, he would find it strange. The city was very big. After all, it covered an area of millions of miles. If an ordinary person walked with their legs, even if they didn't sleep or rest, it would take them 10 years to walk. That was to say, in the city, there were cultivators with strong cultivation bases, so such a problem wouldn't occur. However, if it was an ordinary physical invulnerability realm cultivator, it would take about a month to walk all over the city. Those who weren't afraid of the city's obstacles were at least in the god martial arts realm. It took 2 days. Lu Qinghong and the others finally reached their destination. They saw a huge mansion with a large number of cultivators coming in and out. On the plaque of the mansion, there were a few big words. Heavenly Court Branch. This place is really far. A player in the team complained helplessly. For the first time in their lives, in the game's city, it would take 2 days to walk to a destination. And that was under the premise that they used their cultivation to rush. Otherwise, who knew how long it would take to walk here? Let's go in. Lu Qinghong didn't say anything. He exchanged a glance with Chao Hong and took the lead to walk in. The moment they entered the mansion, their field of vision suddenly widened. From the outside, the mansion was already very big. But when they really walked in, they realized that the space inside was more than 100 times bigger than what it looked like from the outside. When they really walked in, the few of them realized that instead of calling this a mansion, it was more like a huge square. There were different stalls in all directions of the square. Some stalls had divine weapons, some stalls had pills and formations. However, there were also some stalls that had strange items on display. And in the middle of the square, there was a long line. At the end of the line, there was a scale that was about the height of a person. Brother, what is this place for? Chao Hong looked at the person at the end of the line, then patted his shoulder and asked politely. Hearing that person looked back and explained, This is the place to exchange merit points. Do you see that scale? Just place your experience stones on it, and you'll be able to exchange them for merit points. Thank you. Chao Hong cupped his hands with a smile on his face. Soon after, he shifted his gaze across the group and looked directly at Tianqing. He saw that some players placed the crystal on one end of the scale. Not long after, a jade token condensed on the other end of the scale. Next to the scale, there was a powerhouse of the myriad races. Every time a jade token condensed, that powerhouse would put away the crystal and then hand the jade token to the person who placed the crystal. He just took a few glances. Chao Hong had a rough idea in his heart. At this time, the other players in the team had already scattered around the square, inquiring about the information they wanted to know. Senior, are you selling the Godlock Talisman? Lu Qinghong stopped in front of a stall and looked at the jade token on it. His expression was a little strange. The owner of this stall was a powerhouse of the myriad races. He didn't know how strong he was. But when he met a powerhouse, there wouldn't be anything wrong with calling him senior. Hearing that, Kong Yi, who was dozing off at the stall, opened his eyes at this time. After glancing at Lu Qinghong, he smiled faintly. That's right, this is the Godlock Talisman. After saying that, he explained again. You should also know that the Godlock Talisman given by the Heavenly Court has an energy limit. Once the energy of the Godlock Talisman is exhausted, it will be directly destroyed. And without the Godlock Talisman, if you want to walk in the outer realm, you have to be at least a true immortal. How about it? Do you want to buy some Godlock Talismans? I also know that you mutants want to experience and adventure the most. There's nothing wrong with preparing a few more. The energy of the Godlock Talisman will still be consumed. Lu Qinghong's expression changed. He immediately took out the Godlock Talisman from his chest and saw that the color on it was much dimmer than before. He had never paid much attention to the Godlock Talisman, because this thing could automatically block the God-annihilating gale when worn. Other than this effect, the Godlock Talisman had no other effect. Therefore, Lu Qinghong rarely paid attention to this thing. At this moment, he finally knew that the Godlock Talisman had a limit to its use. Instantly, Lu Qinghong had a bad premonition. How much is the Godlock Talisman? 10 Lingwu merit points to exchange for the Godlock Talisman. Each Godlock Talisman can be used for a month. The precondition is that other than blocking the God-annihilating gale, there is no other loss. Kong He extended a finger and said with a smile. As expected. Lu Qinghong's face darkened. 10 Lingwu merit points to exchange for a Godlock Talisman. This was no different than robbery. Killing a void demon of the spiritual martial realm only gave him 10 Lingwu merit points. With the current strength of the players, it was not easy to kill a void demon of the spiritual martial realm. Not to mention, there were too many ferocious beasts in the outer realm. It was even more difficult to kill a void demon of the spiritual martial realm. As such, one could imagine the value of 10 Lingwu merit points. Right now, 10 Lingwu merit points could only be exchanged for a Godlock Talisman. This was already hard for Lu Qinghong to accept. Seeing this, Kong Yi smiled. Without the Godlock Talisman, you will not be able to leave the city, because there are no protective formations in other places. Once the God-annihilating gale arrives, you will die. Although you variant humans are immortal, but once you die, you will lose a lot of strength. I don't need to tell you the use of the Godlock Talisman, you should know. But 10 Lingwu merit points is too expensive. Lu Qinghong's expression did not look good. It's not expensive. Kong Yi shook his head and his smile faded. The Godlock Talisman can block the God-annihilating gale. Only a genuine immortal has the right to make it. To be honest, a genuine immortal is high above. If you want to ask them to help, you need to pay a huge price. Right now, you are using 10 Lingwu merit points to ask a genuine immortal to help you once. It's already worth it. Don't say that I lied to you. The Godlock Talisman has the same price everywhere. If you want to survive in the outer realm, then you must have the Godlock Talisman. After he had finished, Kong Yi did not look at Lu Qinghong anymore, and closed his eyes to sleep again. If it was in the past, with his status, he would not waste words with a spiritual martial realm cultivator. However, now that the Heavenly Court had opened a path to the outer realm, the Nine-Headed Dog clan naturally had to interfere. Plus, Kong Yi had already reached the limit of the heavenly human realm. However, he could not touch the door to the genuine immortal realm. He might as well come out to the outer realm and see if he could find an opportunity to break through. As for setting up a stall, that was just to pass the time. When the time was right, he would leave. Chapter 744. Looking at Kong Ye's appearance, Lu Qinghong frowned slightly. Just as the other party had said, if one wanted to walk in the void outside, the Godlock Talisman was indispensable. Without the Godlock Talisman, taking a step out of the city was a dead end. Only with the Godlock Talisman could one not fear the threat of the God-destroying gale. Taking a deep look at Kong Yi, Lu Qinghong turned and left. He wanted to buy the Godlock Talisman, but he had to compare the goods and not just listen to what the other party said. Moreover, he had no merit points now. If he wanted to get merit points, he had to at least exchange with crystal stones. However, Lu Qinghong had just turned around, but he quickly turned back. Kong Yi opened his eyes. Why, do you want to buy it? I don't need to buy the Godlock talisman for the time being. I want to ask if you have any information about the resources that can be exchanged with merit points. If so, I would like to know more, Lu Qinghong said. He wanted to find out what the merit points could be exchanged for. Kong Yi nodded and said, This is not a secret. You have seen the Heavenly Court branch. In fact, in every city, there is a branch of the Heavenly Court. And to be able to set up a stall in the branch of the Heavenly Court, only the races of the Heavenly Court gods are qualified. The things sold here are all traded with merit points and the prices are all the same. There is no possibility of negotiation. So if you want to know what the merit points can be exchanged for, you only need to walk around the branch of the Heavenly Court, and you will have a general understanding. After saying this, Kong Yi paused and suddenly smiled. Of course, these are only on the surface. In fact, merit points can still be exchanged for other things. Those things are the real treasures. Speaking of this, he took out a light blue jade talisman from somewhere. The other treasures that merit points can be exchanged for are all in the jade talisman. A crystal stone of the spiritual martial realm can be taken away directly. Okay. This time, Lu Qinghong did not hesitate and directly gave Kong Yi a crystal stone of the spiritual martial realm. Then, he took the jade talisman from Kong Yi's hand. He did not leave the stall and used the crystal stone in front of the stall. His divine thought fell. A large amount of information emerged from the crystal stone. Soon, in Lu Qinghong's mind, there were many unfamiliar memories. Martial Merit Points Exchange Area. Martial Merit Points Exchange Area. Shinwu Merit Points Exchange Area. Deva Merit Points Exchange Area. True Immortal Merit Points Exchange Area. The 5 regions seemed to be independent memories. He directly flipped through the True Immortal Merit Points Exchange Area, and the corresponding memories immediately appeared. Ranked first was the Heavenly Court's deity position, which was worth 100,000 merit points. As for the things after that, Lu Qinghong was unfamiliar with them. He didn't know much about them. With just a cursory glance, he understood that it was a treasure that he could not afford. He then opened the Celestial Merit Points Exchange Area. He immediately saw the exchange rewards for the first and second place. A complete set of rules was worth tens of millions of merit points. An incomplete law was worth 1,000,000 merit points. A complete law, an incomplete law. Lu Qinghong was shocked. What were the rules? Ever since a large number of true immortals had been born, he had gained some understanding. What was immortal ascension? As long as one grasped the laws, they could become immortal ascension. No amount of immortal ascension resources was as practical as directly obtaining a law. Originally, Lu Qinghong still had some guesses as to what the resources required to become an immortal were. Now, he completely understood. Resources for immortal ascension. That was a rule. It was just that he thought that the resources worth 1,000,000 merit points would be ranked first, but in the end, it was only ranked second. From this, it could be seen. Whether it was an incomplete or a complete set of rules, one could become an immortal. What was related to was probably the strength after becoming an immortal. However, whether it was 1,000,000 merit points or 10,000,000 merit points, to Lu Qinghong, they were all too far away. Soon, Lu Qinghong's attention fell on the Lingwu Merit Points Exchange Area. After a long time, he opened his eyes and understood in his heart. Thank you, Senior! Lu Qinghong cupped his hands slightly and turned to leave. Looking at his departing figure, Kong Yi shook his head and laughed. If he knew that as long as he exchanged merit points for the first time, he would receive this information, I wonder what kind of expression he would have. Thinking of this, a smile appeared on his face. At Kong Yi's level, there were very few things that could cause his heart to fluctuate. However, the relaxation now had given him a different harvest. Inner hall of the Heavenly Palace. All the gods gathered. Ever since the end of the battle, Qin Shujian had simply recuperated in seclusion and issued another order. That was, every 3 days, the Heavenly Court would hold a court meeting. Other than the perfected immortals who were in seclusion and did not need to participate, everyone else had to participate in the court meeting. On the throne, Qin Shujian said calmly, "Do you have anything to report?" When the gods below heard this, someone immediately stepped forward and cupped his hands. "Emperor of Heaven, the myriad races are now seizing the time to build cities to strengthen our heavenly court's strength in the extraterritorial battlefield. However, the cities in the extraterritorial battlefield currently lack effective defensive forces. Although there are experts from the myriad races, they are too scattered. Therefore, I think that the heavenly court should form heavenly soldiers to strengthen the defense of the extraterritorial battlefield." Heavenly soldiers. When Qin Shujian heard this familiar word, his expression changed slightly. Any heavenly court actually had heavenly soldiers. In comparison, the current heavenly court was somewhat abnormal. There were many factors that led to this. The biggest factor was that there was not enough time. Therefore, he had focused on increasing the high-end combat strength of the heavenly court and neglected the matter of heavenly soldiers. Now that someone mentioned it, Qin Shujian finally reacted. The formation of heavenly soldiers is very necessary, but not everyone can become a heavenly soldier. If you want to be a heavenly soldier, you have to be at least at the 4th level of the heaven-human realm. After all, the strength of the heavenly soldiers is related to the face of the heavenly court. We can't be careless. Hearing this, Shiyang cupped his hands and said, "Emperor of Heaven's words are reasonable. If we form heavenly soldiers, the strength of the heavenly soldiers must not be weak. However, if we form heavenly soldiers, the heavenly court also needs to expand. Otherwise, it would be difficult for the current heavenly court to accommodate too many heavenly soldiers. At the same time, if we form heavenly soldiers, we also need heavenly generals to command the heavenly soldiers. I think that those on the war general's roll can be heavenly generals." Among the 720 names on the war general ranking, there were many experts from the human race. If they formed heavenly soldiers, then the human experts on the roll would have a chance of becoming heavenly generals. This way, the foundation of the human race in the heavenly court would be strengthened. I also agree with this. Xiao Chengfeng nodded slightly and agreed with Shi Yang's suggestion. After he spoke, many true immortals immediately agreed. Qin Shujian said, "The matter of forming heavenly soldiers cannot be delayed. Anyone above the 4th level of the heaven-human realm is qualified to become a heavenly soldier. However, not any 4th level of the heaven-human realm can become a heavenly soldier. I will set up a test. Only those who pass the test can enter the heavenly court. As for heavenly generals, they will be chosen from the war general's roll. However, there is a prerequisite. They must pass the test. I will announce the details of the test when the time comes. Do you have any other matters?" At the end of his speech, Qin Shujian's gaze swept across the gods one by one. There was nothing else. Then they could all disperse. Hearing this, Shiyang hesitated, then cupped his hands and said, "The Emperor of Heaven originally said that he would bestow a deity position to me. Now I want to give this deity position to Elder Zhan of the Great Zhao Imperial Astronomer. Is that possible?" After he finished speaking. Before Qin Shujian could reply, there were already many true immortals in the hall who had different expressions. Until now, the human race. There were already 3 true immortals who had been conferred deity positions. If there was one more, it would be equivalent to having 4 deity positions. In that case, the power of the human race in the heavenly court would definitely increase greatly. Even though the Emperor of Heaven was also a human. However, after he became the Emperor of Heaven, it was impossible for him to be biased. Therefore, it was impossible for him to give the human race any preferential treatment. On the contrary, the more deity positions the human race had, the stronger their right to speak in the heavenly court. However, even though some true immortals had concerns in their hearts, they could not find a reason to refute. This was because the bestowment of the deity position was personally said by Qin Shujian. Just as the gods were having different thoughts. Qin Shujian said, "Su Zhan is only a second-realm blacksmith now. It would be a waste if he were to take on an ordinary deity position. Right now, I am preparing to establish the Heavenly Artifacts Division and set up the deity position of the God of Artifacts. This deity position is above the Zhou Tian constellation, but it is also considered a powerful deity position below the four war gods. However, if you want to become the God of Artifacts, you have to be at least a third-realm blacksmith. Among the thousands of races in the four continents, third-realm blacksmiths are basically extinct. There are also very few second-realm blacksmiths. Su Zhan has a chance of breaking through to the third realm. It would be a waste to use the deity position on him. In other words, he was waiting for Su Zhan to break through to the third realm and directly take on the deity position of the God of Artifacts. At this moment, not only were the gods shocked, even Shi Yang's face was filled with shock. The Demon Emperor could not help but ask, "Emperor of Heaven, can any third-realm blacksmith be qualified to take on the deity position of the God of Artifacts?" That's right. The first third-realm blacksmith in the four great continents can enter the heavenly court as an official, obtain the deity position of the God of Artifacts, and control the Heavenly Artifacts Division. At that time, all the blacksmiths in the four great continents will be controlled by the Heavenly Artifacts Division. Qin Shijian nodded and replied, "Boom!" This simple sentence caused thousands of waves in the hearts of the gods. Originally, they only knew that the deity position of the God of Artifacts was powerful. However, now it seemed that it was not just the deity position that was powerful. Even the power in his hands was terrifyingly powerful, controlling all the blacksmiths in the 10,000 races. If an expert of any race could become the God of Artifacts and control the Heavenly Artifacts Division, they would be able to obtain many benefits. After all, any powerful divine weapon was a rare treasure. A powerful blacksmith. In the eyes of any expert, a blacksmith was a precious treasure. If one could become the God of Artifacts, then all the blacksmiths in the four great continents would be under their control. As long as there was a slight amount of resources, the experts of a race would be armed to the teeth. They were truly shocked. If Qin Shijian had not mentioned it, no one would have known that there was such a deity position waiting for them. Instantly, the Mountain Breaker Emperor cupped his hands and asked, "If a third-realm blacksmith can become a deity position, then may I ask the Emperor of Heaven, if a third-realm array master and a third-realm alchemist can also become a deity position?" "That's right." Qin Shijian nodded and said calmly, "For any job, as long as one reaches the third realm and has a cultivation level of Heaven's Mortal Tier 10 and above, one will be able to become a god. However, the prerequisite is that they must be the first to reach it." Hearing this, many of the true immortals' breathing quickened slightly. Blacksmithing, array, and alchemy. These three deity positions were empty, waiting for the right person to inherit them. However, some of the true immortals' expressions turned ugly when they thought of certain things. After the primordial age was destroyed, the strength of the 10,000 races had been greatly reduced. Among them, the inheritance of the auxiliary professions had been severely damaged and was far from being as perfect as the human race. In other words, in terms of auxiliary professions, the various races could not compare to the human race at all. Even if the heavenly court was established and the various races used the opportunity of unification to perfect these auxiliary professions, the gap was not made up by much. At least, as far as they knew, the human race already had second-realm blacksmiths and array masters. As for alchemy masters, they had not heard of them, but they might also have one. Looking at the other races, not to mention the second realm, they might not even have a first-realm master. The gap between the two of them was one thing, but once they did, they felt a little hopeless. However, the gods present did not plan to give up on these three deity positions. If all three deity positions fell into the hands of the human race, they would not have to play anymore. They would just give everything to the human race. "If there's nothing else, then the meeting is adjourned," Qin Shijian said calmly. Seeing this, Xiang did not say anything else. The three deity positions that Qin Shijian mentioned were very likely to be obtained by the human race. Since that was the case, he was not in a hurry to exchange for the deity position in his hands. It would not be too late to use the deity position when there was no way to fight for it and there was a suitable candidate. "We will take our leave!" The gods bowed and retreated. Suddenly, only Qin Shujian was left in the inner hall of the heavenly court. "Forming the heavenly army, I almost forgot! When the heavenly army and heavenly generals are in place, and the 3 deity positions are filled by experts, the heavenly court will be more or less complete. The remaining deity positions can be slowly filled. But I remember that the heavenly army should have a formation. What kind of formation is it?" Qin Shujian sat on the throne and flipped through the memories of the Third Era. The human race could have a military formation. The heavenly army of the heavenly court naturally could not rely on individual strength to fight against the enemy. As early as a few years ago, the heavenly army of the heavenly court already had a powerful formation. It was also because of this. That was why the heavenly army was famous and suppressed many powerful existences. Otherwise, with the individual strength of the heavenly army, they were no different from cannon fodder in front of a true expert. To make a simple comparison, 10,000 ordinary level 4 celestials would be wiped out by a level 1 celestial. 10,000 level 4 celestials with a military formation would be able to suppress a level 1 celestial, even if there would be some losses in the process. But in comparison, the results were completely different. This was the strength of a military formation. However, with Qin Shujian's identity in the Third Era, he only had a brief understanding of it, and quickly threw it to the back of his mind. He did not pay much attention to it at all. After all, no matter how strong a military formation was, it could only deal with true immortals. Once it reached the Tao fruit level, even the strongest military formation would be useless. But it was different now. The strongest enemy only had the strength of a level 9 celestial. As long as the heavenly army was strong enough and the military formation was strong enough, then when it was used, it would become the heavenly army's most beneficial aid. The memories of the Third Era were very long. Qin Shujian now had to spend a lot of time flipping through them bit by bit. Half a day later, he finally found the information about the heavenly army's military formation that he was looking for in a corner of the memories. However, the military formation in his memories was also an incomplete formation. It was not that the formation itself was incomplete, but that he did not completely memorize the formation, resulting in the formation being incomplete. Fortunately, the incomplete formation is not very serious. With my current attainments in the array Tao, it is not difficult to deduce and perfect this military formation. Qin Shujian heaved a sigh of relief. There were not many incomplete parts of the formation. As long as he spent some time, he would be able to completely repair the formation. At the same time, the news of the Heavenly Court's Heavenly Army selection officially spread. P.S. Requesting monthly votes. Chapter 745. Heavenly Soldiers. It didn't sound impressive. However, heavenly soldiers could enter the heavenly court and instantly improve by many levels. Creatures of all races. All of them wanted to enter the heavenly court and become a member of the heavenly soldiers. However, the weakest requirement to become a heavenly soldier was to be at least the 4th level of the celestial being realm. As a result, most of the people were blocked outside the door. The 4th level of the celestial being realm. More than 10 years ago, he could be considered an elder of a clan. Even now, they were the backbone of a clan. After all, strong people at this level could already understand the rules and borrowed the power of the rules. No matter where they were rare strong people. Now that the spirit chi was much richer, the number of saint cultivators was much more than before. So, 99% of the cultivators were barred from entering the heavenly soldier realm. The remaining few could not become a heavenly soldier immediately. They needed to go through a new round of assessment before they were qualified to become a member of the heavenly soldiers. Yuan sect. The Yuan sect of the past was now fully deserving of the title of the number 1 sect. although the Qianyuan sacred ground was now the leader of all the sects in the world. Yuan sect. It was also the sect with the strongest foundation in the Qianyuan sacred ground, because the current Emperor of Heaven was the founder of Yuan sect. As early as 10 years ago, when Qin Shujian left behind the cultivation methods and martial arts, he had already established Yuan sect's future achievements. The current sacred lord of the Qianyuan sacred ground was Qin Yuanbai of the Nine Palaces sect. But even the Nine Palaces sect, there was no way they could be called the number one sect in the Qianyuan sacred ground. Even someone as strong as Qin Yuanbai was not confident to be called the number one master in the Qianyuan sacred ground. In terms of the number of masters, Yuan sect was still second to none. The number of heavenly soldiers recruited by the heavenly court this time should be a lot. The status of a heavenly soldier in the heavenly court is also the lowest. But no matter how low the status of a heavenly soldier is, after all, they still have the name of the heavenly court. Their future achievements will definitely not be small. Our sect now has a lot of qualified cultivators. They can try to compete for the position of a heavenly soldier. In the main hall of Yuan sect, Su Yuanming said calmly. Right now, he had also reached the 7th level of the sky human realm. Because Qin Shujian had become the Emperor of Heaven, the position of sect master that had been vacant for a long time had officially fallen on Su Yuanming's head. Regarding this, the other elders of the Yuan sect did not have any objections. Things were different now. Even if he took over the position of sect master, he would not have the blessing of Providence. At most, he would have a better name, but many things would still be decided by the Sacred Lord. As a result, the sect master's authority was greatly weakened. Zheng Fang nodded slightly. Sect master's words are true. No matter what, as long as my Yuan sect's people can enter the heavenly court and become heavenly soldiers, it will naturally be a good thing. However, compared to the heavenly soldiers, we can't miss out on the position of heavenly general. There are a total of 720 heavenly generals. For the time being, I am not sure if all the heavenly generals are qualified to become heavenly generals. However, even if they are, there are only a few people in our Yuan sect who could become heavenly generals. Niu Feng shook his head. Taking everything into account, there were only 3 people in Yuan Zong who had entered the warrior ranking. One was Test Jianfeng. One was Ningbo. And the last one was Zhang Ergu. Among the 720 people on the warrior ranking, almost all the experts on the warrior ranking had reached the 10th level of the heaven-human realm. This was because almost all those who had not reached the 10th level of the heaven-human realm had their positions taken away. Even if there were experts who had reached the 10th level of the heaven-human realm, if they were not strong enough, they would not be able to keep their warrior ranking. Therefore, the 3 people in Yuan Zong's warrior ranking were the only ones who had not reached the 10th level of the heaven-human realm. One was Test Jianfeng, who was at the 7th level of the heaven-human realm. One was Ningbo, who was at the 5th level of the heaven-human realm. One was Zhang Ergu, who was at the 6th level of the heaven-human realm. The former had just entered the ranks of the Almighties, while the latter 2 had not even entered the Almighty's realm. Niu Feng and the others guessed that the reason why they were able to enter the warrior ranking was most likely because they had taken the path of heaven and earth evolution. Regarding this, some elders were slightly regretful that they had chosen the physical sanctification realm instead of heaven and earth evolution. However, there were some elders who felt relieved in their hearts. After all, strictly speaking, there was nothing to regret about. Looking at the people who had taken the physical sanctification realm path, all of them had reached the 7th level of the heaven-human realm and above, while the latter 2 had not even entered the Almighty's realm. It was clear how difficult it was. Su Yuanming nodded and said, Although there are only 3 people on the warrior ranking in our sect, all of them must enter the heavenly court and obtain the position of heavenly general. At this point, he looked at Test Jianfeng and Ningbo and asked, Elders, are you confident now? It's hard to say. I don't know what the heavenly court's assessment is. Test Jianfeng shook his head slightly. However, If even I can't pass the assessment, then the probability of others passing is very low. A confident look appeared on his face. Taking the physical sanctification realm path meant that Test Jianfeng's combat strength was destined to be much stronger than others. When Xiao Chifeng was at the 7th level of the heaven-human realm, he already had the strength of a half-immortal. Although Test Jianfeng's foundation was not as strong as Xiao Chifeng's, in the 7th level of the heaven-human realm, he was not comparable to ordinary experts. Although the experts who could enter the warrior ranking were the most powerful ones in the 10th level of the heaven-human realm, he was not afraid at all. As for Ningbo, his attitude was similar to Test Jianfeng's now. The path of heaven and earth. It was stronger than the physical sanctification realm. Although he was 2 levels lower than Test Jianfeng in terms of realm, the gap in strength was not very big. Seeing this, Su Yuanming also had a smile on his face. If the 2 elders can become heavenly generals, it will naturally be a good thing for our sect, especially Elder Ning. Especially Elder Ning, you are the Celestial Emperor's disciple. If you become an immortal in the future, there will definitely be a deity position in the heavenly court for you. Yuan Zong's biggest trump card now. It was Ningbo. After all, no matter what, he was the only disciple of the Emperor of Heaven. If he really became an immortal, there would be a deity position in the heavenly court. It's a pity that I can't contact Elder Ergen now. However, he should also get the news about the heavenly generals. There's no need to worry too much about it for now. Other than the heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals, there's also the deity position in the heavenly court. Now, in the array Dao, forging Dao, and alchemy Dao, any expert who can be the first to reach the 3rd realm is qualified to be conferred a deity position in the heavenly court. Our Yuan Zong is also taking this opportunity to fight for it. Su Yuanming changed the topic and his gaze fell on Xin Yuhua and the others. Alchemy Dao! Array Dao! Forging Dao! Yuan Zong also had experts in the 3 Dao. Moreover, it was a hall that Qin Shujian personally established when he was still in power. Until now, Xin Yuhua and the other hall masters had also reached the master realm. Xin Yuhua said softly, "There aren't many alchemy experts in the human race. I am confident that I can fight for a deity position in the heavenly court. However, in terms of realm, I am still a little lacking." Until now, she had only reached the 4th level of the heaven-human realm. In order to obtain a deity position in the heavenly court, one had to be at least a 10th level heaven-human realm expert. Even if the spirit chi was rich now, it was not that easy to cross the 4th level to the 10th level. Cultivation realm won't be a problem. Given the current concentration of spiritual energy and the resources of the sect, it won't be difficult for a heaven-human realm expert to emerge, but it won't be too difficult either, Su Yuanming said indifferently. With Yuan Zong's current foundation, it was definitely not a problem to produce a 10th level heaven-human realm expert. However, if they were to do so, Yuan Zong's foundation would be severely damaged. Therefore, unless it was a last resort, cultivation would be carried out step by step. Immediately, Su Yuanming's gaze fell on Xin Yuqing and Xiang Haogan. Inside Yuan Zong, Xin Yuqing was the leader of the array Dao while Xiang Haogan was the leader of the array Dao. Noticing Su Yuanming's gaze, Xiang Haogan shook his head with an ugly expression. My array Dao has only reached the Grand Master realm and is still a distance away from the 2nd level. In the Great Zhao Imperial Astronomer, there is a 2nd level array Dao Grand Master. The Deputy Sacred Lord of the Sacred Land is also a array Dao Grand Master who has almost reached the 3rd level. Our sect has little hope of obtaining this deity position. There was no one who did not want to obtain a deity position in the heavenly court. Xiang Haogan naturally thought the same. Although breaking through to the sane realm had completely exceeded his expectations, there was still hope for him to take another step forward, so he could not refuse. But thinking was one thing. But in reality, that was another matter altogether. To obtain a deity position, one had to be at least a 2nd level array Dao Grand Master. If one did not reach the 2nd level, they did not have the qualifications to compete at all. That's right. Ling Huayu is also a second-level array Dao Grandmaster. It is said that Feng Zhan of the Great Zhao Imperial Astronomer is also at the second level. In comparison, my chances of obtaining a deity position are not high. After Xiang Haogan finished speaking, Xin Yuqing also replied. Unlike Xiang Haogan, he did not have much desire for a deity position. From a remnant of the Pill Cauldron sect to a Saint Realm expert, Xin Yuqing was already satisfied. Whether he could break through to a higher level. To be honest, he did not have much of an obsession. If he could succeed, then so be it. In this aspect, Xin Yuqing did not have any desire to compete. After speaking, he tilted his head and looked at his senior sister. Currently, the Pill Dao is the most declining of the 4 great continents. Even though there are other Pill Dao Grandmasters, Elder Yuhua is the one who has the most hope to fight for the divine position of Pill Dao among all of us. As for the other 2 paths, the chances are not high. Hearing this, Su Yuanming also nodded to himself. To put it bluntly, the Origin sect had been established for too short a time. Cultivation realms could be improved by piling up resources. However, it was not easy to accumulate other auxiliary professions. Being able to give birth to grandmasters. This already proved that the Origin sect had a strong foundation. But looking at the current situation, the birth of grandmasters was about to come to an end. The chances of obtaining a deity position in the heavenly court were very low. P.S. I recommend a friend's new book, Players of the Demon World. It summons players from another world in the real demon world. If you like, you can take a look. Chapter 746. Su Yuanming said, If Elder Yuhua wants to break through to the second realm, how long will it take? Or is there anything the sect can help you with? If there is, feel free to ask. If we can take advantage of this opportunity to obtain a deity position, it will be of great benefit to the Yuan sect. The human cultivation world was unified and respected by the Qian Yuan sacred ground. On the surface, everything was peaceful. However, with the existence of factions, there would be disputes. No matter what, the Qian Yuan sacred ground was an organization made up of countless sections. So, on the surface, there was nothing, but in the dark, all parties were fighting with each other. Now that the Yuan sect had a strong foundation, and the first sect master was also the Emperor of Heaven of the Heavenly Court, no one dared to think too much about the Yuan sect. However, nothing was absolute. It would be a great thing for the Yuan sect to be able to produce one more powerhouse and obtain another deity position. The easiest way to improve in alchemy is to refine high-level pills. From the process of refining pills, you can comprehend the existence of the rules of alchemy, and thus make a breakthrough. If what the sect master said is true, the sect can provide high-level spiritual materials for me to refine pills. Within a few years I am confident that I can break through to the second realm. But for the third realm, I can only leave it to fate. There was a faint smile on Xin Yuhua's pretty face. Su Yuanming said, If you can break through to the second realm, at least you will be qualified to compete. If she wanted to compete for a deity position, she had to pay a price. Moreover, even if she failed to compete for a deity position, it would be of great benefit to have a second realm alchemy grandmaster in the sect. Pfft. Zhang Ergus suddenly sneezed, then rubbed his nose with a strange look on his face. Who is talking about me? Or is someone scolding me behind my back? After becoming a true immortal, anyone who mentions your name may be able to calculate something. Beside him, the Qianquan Bao said faintly. Nonsense, if I break through to the true immortal realm now, who would still be fooling around in this place? I shouldn't have taken the path of evolving heaven and earth. Now I wouldn't have to run around looking for resources to cultivate. Just stay in the sect obediently and wait for the lightning tribulation to strike. How simple would that be? Zhang Ergu rolled his eyes at him, feeling powerless and regretful. Only when he truly opened the star acupoints did he realize how difficult it was to break through using this method. All these years, Zhang Ergu had been running around the eastern continent. His goal was to go to those newly born regions and find those spiritual items and supreme treasures to improve his cultivation. But the problem was, regions did not always exist in the same place. Today, the North Cloud Prefecture was born. Tomorrow, it might be the Thousand Mountains Prefecture. Even though there was a teleportation gate and they could move back and forth, John Urga had the urge to vomit after such a long period of non-stop rest. The bow of heaven and earth was indifferent. You chose your own path, so you can't blame anyone. Didn't you control the red lotus of purgation? So what if you've mastered it? Where are the experts to refine it now? Just because there aren't any here doesn't mean that there aren't any elsewhere. The cosmos bow reminded him. Hearing this, John Urga was puzzled. What do you mean? Just say it. There's no need to beat around the bush. We've been together for so many years. There are two suitable places for you to go. The bow of heaven and earth was helpless and could only be more straightforward. One is the void outside the region. There are many void demons there. I'm sure refining the void demons can improve your strength. However, the void outside the region is extremely dangerous. The probability of dying is also very high. The second is the Death Sea region. There are many fierce beasts there, and many of them are powerful. More importantly, the fierce beasts in the Death Sea region are divided into different levels. The most powerful ones are in the depths and won't come out easily. With your current strength, there shouldn't be any fierce beasts in the outer and inner regions that can threaten you. As long as you don't go into the depths of the Death Sea region without permission or encounter an accident, it's enough for you to improve your strength. The bow of heaven and earth said. Death Sea region. John Urga was stunned, but he quickly reacted. Yes, the Death Sea region. The red lotus of purgation could refine the flesh and blood of powerful creatures to improve her strength. Where else could be more suitable than the fierce beasts in the Death Sea region? Why didn't you say so earlier? If you did, I wouldn't have to waste time running around. There are many dangers in the Death Sea region. If you went in with your previous strength, the probability of dying was too high. But now there's a chance. The bow of heaven and earth sneered disdainfully. Hearing this, John Urga didn't refute. He directly left this new area and went to the nearest city. To enter the Death Sea region, he had to go to the East Pattern Mansion. And to go to the East Pattern Mansion, he naturally had to go through the transmission formation. In the Heavenly Court. Except for the regular court meeting every 3 days, Qin Shujian spent the rest of his time recovering from his injuries. All of a sudden, there was a slight vibration in the inner world. Qin Shujian immediately withdrew from the state of healing and then divided a wisp of divine thought into it. In the inner world, there was a volcanic vibration in the south. The magma inside was boiling, as if something was about to be born. Qin Shujian stood at the crater of the volcano and looked at the surging magma below with a faint surprise on his face. Vermilion bird? Or Phoenix? In the Third Era, the Vermilion Bird clan was actually a branch of the Phoenix clan. When the world was just born, there was no Vermilion Bird clan. There was only the Phoenix clan. It wasn't until later that the Vermilion Bird clan was born. Although there were no rules of the Phoenix clan in the world now. However, the normal process of the birth of creatures was the creatures in front of the rules. Therefore, Qin Shujian wasn't sure. Was it a phoenix or a vermilion bird that was being born now? No matter which clan it was classified as an innate fire attribute. All along, he thought that the third creature to be born would be the golden-winged roc because the golden-winged roc was the first to be born. But now it seemed the golden-winged roc hadn't had a chance to be born yet. If it's a phoenix, it's better than a vermilion bird, Qin Shujian thought to himself. Because if it was really a phoenix that was born, then the inner world would be able to give birth to a new rule. Until now, it was no longer an easy task for the inner world to give birth to a new rule. Qin Shujian had comprehended all the rules that were easy to comprehend and then nurtured the corresponding seeds in the inner world. The other rules. They were all extremely difficult to comprehend. And as the inner world became stronger and stronger, the obstacles he encountered when he entered the mother stream of the rules were also stronger. Qin Shujian had a hunch. If he continued to steal the heaven and earth rules so unscrupulously, there would be a day when the heavenly punishment would descend. In front of the heavenly punishment, any powerhouse below the Tao fruit level had no way to survive. Because the most powerful heavenly punishment was already equivalent to a living Tao fruit powerhouse. Even if Qin Shujian now thought that he was already the strongest among the 9th level immortals, he still didn't have the confidence to resist the heavenly punishment. Time passed bit by bit. The fluctuations coming from the volcano were also getting stronger and stronger. Boom! The volcano suddenly erupted and a large amount of magma spewed out from the bottom of the mountain. Qin Shujian stood at the mouth of the volcano, and all the magma consciously passed by him without harming him in the slightest. Immediately after, a ball of flame shot up from the bottom of the volcano into the sky. When it reached the clouds, the flames suddenly dispersed and a loud cry resounded through the sky. 2 divine birds were soaring in the sky. At first glance, they looked very similar to the vermilion bird, but when one looked carefully, one could see the differences. "It's a phoenix indeed!" Qin Shujian had a faint smile on his face. The phoenix was born. In the mother stream of the rules, the phoenix's rules were naturally born. The moment the phoenix was born, he could already clearly feel that the rules of the inner world had been perfected again. At this moment, magma erupted and flowed down from the mountain, turning the area within 1,000 miles into a desolate land of scorched earth. Qin Shujian only glanced at it briefly and disappeared on the spot. There were no changes at all. It was the natural trajectory of heaven and earth. It might not be a good thing to interfere without permission. In the sky, the 2 phoenixes did not notice Qin Shujian's existence from beginning to end. At this moment, after flying for a long time, they fell directly and resided in the volcano. At the same time as the phoenixes were born, the creatures born in other places were also born one after another. In just a short month, the number of creatures born had already reached dozens. As the first batch of creatures born in heaven and earth, the weakest of them was at the diviner level, while the stronger ones had already stabilized their strength at the almighty level. It was just that the inner world was vast. Even though the creatures were born one after another, it did not cause too many changes for the time being. At this moment, Qin Shujian had already exited the inner world. Among the living beings born in the inner world, some of them were born after the existence of the natural order. However, there are also an extremely small number of living beings that were born directly. The rules existing in heaven and earth have increased a lot from the original foundation. The rules had increased. Naturally, their strength had increased. For an ordinary person, it was already not easy for them to recover from their injuries and recover their strength after being injured. However, Qin Shujian could increase the upper limit of his strength while healing his injuries. In this way, the power of the evolution of heaven and earth had gradually manifested. My strength has increased by more than 10 rules. At present, my strength has not increased much, but as long as those creatures become stronger and their rules are more powerful, my strength will truly usher in an explosive growth. Qin Shujian thought to himself. When the middle world was promoted to the great world, his strength would officially break through to the Tao fruit level. Before this, every time a new rule was born, it would strengthen his foundation. When the time was right, he would naturally break through. P.S. Begging for monthly votes. Chapter 747. He left the inner palace. Qin Shujian returned to the Qianyuan realm. In front of the human emperor's palace, there were still many cultivators gathered there, comprehending the contents of the stone tablets. As time went by, the aura on the stone tablets became more and more ancient. For the people of the Qianyuan realm, they were not only comprehending the contents of the stone tablets. Even the stone tablets themselves were worth comprehending. "They're about to transform into Zhu Bing," Looking at the first 2 stone tablets, Qin Shujian had a smile on his face. The human race was powerful. They had more and more experts. The number of cultivators who cultivated the universe Tao-seeking sutra and the human emperor's immortal slaying technique was also much more than before. The birth of Zhu Bing. It was a transformation that occurred when the power of faith reached the extreme. This transformation? It could give inanimate objects intelligence, and then give them all kinds of mysteries. The 2 stone tablets, the Universe Tao-seeking Sutra and the Human Emperor's immortal slaying technique, had received the faith of most of the human race. The power of faith was fermenting. Even if it did not truly transform into Zhu Bing, it was not far from it. With the current level of faith on the stone tablets, if it was in the 3rd era, it would be enough to be conferred as a god. There are several kinds of gods in heaven and earth. There are innate gods. Among them, those born naturally are innate gods. Those born with the power of faith are postnatal gods. If these 2 stone tablets were in the 3rd era, they would be considered postnatal gods, and they would be extremely powerful. In the future, as long as the faith is not extinguished, there is hope to become a true immortal in the upper 3 levels. Qin Shujian thought to himself. He stood in front of the human emperor's palace, but his body seemed to be covered by fog. No one around him noticed anything strange. Compared to the first 2 stone tablets, the last 3 stone tablets were a little worse. In addition, the auxiliary professions were not mainstream, so the power of faith they could obtain was much less. In a few years, the Emperor of Heaven will be able to obtain 2 more Zhu Bing. Moreover, when they meditate in front of the stone tablets, they can also feel the Tao runes of Zhu Bing. It will be very beneficial for their future cultivation, Godslayer said slowly. Witnessing the birth of 2 Zhu Bing with his own eyes was also quite rewarding for him. Zhu Bing was hard to find. Moreover, the gestation of each Zhu Bing would normally take a long time. If one wanted to see the moment of Zhu Bing's birth, one would need a great opportunity. Qin Shujian smiled faintly. Zhu Bing won't be of much use in this tribulation. We'll need an even stronger Zhu Bing for the upcoming battles. The Emperor of Heaven has the heaven-deceiving technique. I believe it won't be a problem for a 1 tribulation Zhu Bing to advance. There are so many vicious beasts in the Sea of Death. I believe it will be enough to give birth to a powerful Zhu Bing. The God-slaying saber gave a vague hint. Zhu Bing also had dreams. Although he was now a 5 tribulation Zhu Bing, he would not complain about being too strong. With the heaven-deceiving technique in hand, Godslayer was confident that he could transcend the 6th tribulation or even the 7th tribulation. It was mainly because, now that the great wide world had stepped out of the outer space, the previous battle had already made him feel that his strength was not strong enough. 5 tribulation Zhu Bing. At any time, it was actually a top-notch divine weapon. In the ancient heavenly court, there was only 1 5 tribulation Zhu Bing. But strictly speaking, the power that the 5 tribulation Zhu Bing could unleash was extremely limited. If he wanted to deal with a 9th heaven immortal or even an existence of a higher level, he had to break through. Qin Shujian said, "How many true immortals do you have to kill to have the confidence to transcend the tribulation for the 6th tribulation? Let me calculate." After Godslayer finished speaking, he fell into deep thought. After a while, he said, "As long as I kill another 500 true immortals, I will be able to transcend the tribulation." 500 true immortals refer to first heaven immortals. If it's a more powerful true immortal, the number can be reduced by a lot. Of course, if I want to succeed in transcending the tribulation, the number may have to be doubled. Hearing this, the corner of Qin Shujian's mouth twitched slightly. 500 true immortals. If the number was doubled, it would be 1,000 true immortals. To think that the other party could say that. Now, even if all the true immortals of the heavenly court were killed, it would barely be enough for Godslayer to transcend the tribulation. In the Sea of Death, Qin Shujian was not sure if there were that many true immortal ferocious beasts. However, if he killed Jiangyang Orin, it would definitely be enough for Godslayer to transcend the tribulation. Let's wait and see. Although there are many true immortal ferocious beasts in the Sea of Death, we might not be able to gather so many. However, there are many true immortals among the void demons, so transcending the tribulation shouldn't be a problem. After Qin Shujian replied, he walked to the front of a towering tree. At this moment, Mu Yang. He had successfully broken through to the 10th level of the Heaven Immortal Realm and was almost at the true Immortal Realm. Although Eldar had a long lifespan, the improvement of his strength was also very slow. However, Mu Yang had the wood spirit heart of a half-immortal. In addition to the rich star power, the improvement of his strength was not slow at all. Looking at the giant tree in front of him, Qin Shuyan looked a little emotional. He also did not dare to believe that a small osmanthus tree in the past had grown to such a level. As if sensing something, the branches and leaves of the giant tree shook. An ethereal and uncertain voice rang out. "The Celestial Emperor?" The voice came from the trunk and attracted the attention of others. Instantly, someone turned his head to look at the giant tree. In front of the giant tree, a figure in a green robe had appeared at some point. "Emperor of Heaven!" After seeing the green-robed man, that person's heart could not help but tremble. When the others heard that, they all looked in the direction of the giant tree. After seeing Qin Shujian, everyone stood up and bowed respectfully. "Greetings, Emperor of Heaven!" The Emperor of Heaven had arrived in person. Everyone had different thoughts in their hearts. But more than that, they were in awe. Qin Shujian was no longer the human emperor of the past. Instead, he was the Emperor of Heaven who suppressed all races and established the heavenly court. He was also the strongest person in the 4 great continents of the great wide world. Almost all the cultivators, in the depths of their hearts, they retained their respect and curiosity for the Emperor of Heaven. Now that they had seen the Emperor of Heaven in person, some of them could no longer remain calm. "I'm just taking a walk. You don't have to worry about it," Qin Shujian said indifferently with his hands behind his back. Hearing that, the others did not dare to say anything. After bowing again, they returned to their original seats. However, although they sat back down, their minds were no longer on the stone tablet. On the other side, the giant tree shook. Mu Yang's body appeared in front of him. Compared to the appearance of a boy in the past, Mu Yang now looked like a teenager. Seeing Mu Yang's appearance, some people could not help but be startled. They knew that the giant tree in front of the human emperor's palace was not an ordinary existence. However, not everyone knew about Mu Yang's background. In particular, some cultivators who had not been in the Qianyuan realm for long did not know that there was such an expert in front of the human emperor's palace. "Mu Yang greets the Emperor of Heaven!" Mu Yang bowed. His tone and attitude were as respectful as ever. Qin Shujian looked at the young man in front of him with a rare gentle smile on his face. "You've gained a lot over the years. You should be breaking through to the true immortal realm soon. Thanks to the Emperor of Heaven's blessings, I should be able to become an immortal in a while. The Eldar has existed since the birth of heaven and earth. It was only after the ancient times were destroyed that the Eldar suffered heavy losses. Now, the Eldar are scattered everywhere. When you become an immortal, you should unite the Eldar and become the real Emperor of the Eldar. At that time, the Heavenly Court will also have a deity position that belongs to you." Qin Shujian said with a faint smile. There were few deity positions in the Heavenly Court. He did not promise too many people about the deity position. Mu Yang was one of the few people. When a man achieves the Tao, even his chickens and dogs will ascend to heaven. Although the people of Yuan sect could not obtain the deity position, they had been bestowed with supreme techniques. They had a chance of becoming a true immortal in the future. Mu Yang had followed him for a long time. Qin Shujian would not favor one over the other. Hearing this, Mu Yang's face was also filled with joy. "Thank you, Emperor of Heaven. Do you plan to stay in the Qianyuan realm or follow me to the Heavenly Court?" Mu Yang is willing to follow by the Emperor of Heaven's side, Mu Yang said respectfully. He did not need to think too much about this question. Staying in the Qian Yuan realm was a good thing, but if he could follow by Qin Shujian's side, it would be even better. Then let's go. Qin Shujian nodded. Immediately after, the Qian Yuan realm shook slightly. The branches and leaves that covered the sky like a canopy trembled violently. Immediately after, under everyone's shocked gazes, countless roots were pulled out from the ground. Then, the giant tree slowly disappeared and overlapped with the young man that was originally formed. Who dares to cause trouble in the Qian Yuan realm? What happened? Powerful auras erupted from all over the Qian Yuan realm. One after another, experts who were cultivating in seclusion appeared. Those experts. Each of them was above the 7th level of the celestial being realm, an existence that had reached the supreme realm. The combined aura was enough to make those cultivators who were not strong enough tremble in fear. However, Qin Shujian and Mu Yang's faces were calm. There was no fluctuation in their expressions. It was also at this moment. Those experts had arrived. Many people were originally angry, but when they saw Qin Shujian, their faces immediately turned pale. Emperor of Heaven. Some people were already covered in cold sweat and stammered when they spoke. Emperor of Heaven. Qin Yuanbai had also arrived. Qin Shujian said, I'm taking Mu Yang away. All right. Qin Yuanbai nodded. He didn't dare to say a word more. As the sacred lord of the Qian Yuan sacred ground, Mu Yang's departure had never been decided by him. Qin Shujian's words were not a question, but a way for him to step down so that he, the sacred lord, would not be too embarrassed. Immediately, Qin Shujian disappeared from where he stood. Mu Yang also rose into the air and left the Qian Yuan realm. After Qin Shujian left, the others heaved a sigh of relief. The Emperor of Heaven is so powerful. Just standing in front of him, I feel like I can't raise my head. Humph, if not, how could the Emperor of Heaven suppress all races? Many people had already begun to whisper. Qin Yuanbai glanced at them and scolded. Don't talk about the Emperor of Heaven without permission. Otherwise, you will be punished. After that, he also left directly. After Mu Yang left, the spiritual energy in the Qian Yuan sacred ground weakened a lot. But now, with the power of the stars shining, some of the spiritual energy reduction was bearable. On the other side, Mu Yang followed Qin Shujian, broke through the astral wind of heaven and earth, and entered the heavenly court. In the outer hall of the heavenly palace, Qin Shujian said, You will take root here in the future and take on the responsibility of guarding the heavenly palace. Emperor of Heaven, don't worry. I know what to do. Mu Yang nodded. Immediately he restored his body. Countless roots penetrated the ground of the heavenly palace, and the originally hard ground was easily broken by the roots. The roots went deep into the bottom of the heavenly palace, and then broke open below, quickly wrapping the entire bottom of the heavenly palace. At the same time, a giant tree grew, and the branches and leaves were like a canopy, suspended above the heavenly palace. Such a change also attracted the attention of the other gods. But after seeing the changes in the heavenly palace, the gods suppressed the doubts in their hearts. There were changes in the heavenly palace. There was no doubt that it was the work of the Emperor of Heaven. There were some things. It was not their place to ask, so there was no need to be so nosy. Mu Yang? Only Xiao Chengfeng had some doubts in his eyes. He knew about the osmanthus tree in the Qian Yuan realm. It had always been in front of the human emperor's palace. But what surprised Xiao Chengfeng was, why did Qin Shujian suddenly move Mu Yang from the Qian Yuan realm to the heavenly palace? However, these things had little to do with him. Xiao Chengfeng was only puzzled for a moment, and then extinguished the curiosity in his heart. Now, he was still focusing on improving his strength. A level 4 immortal is still too weak. In the last battle, if I was a level 5 immortal, your ways would definitely not have survived. Xiao Chengfeng thought of the battle in the void outside the realm, and his eyes turned cold. When he was at his peak, a demon emperor was no different from an ant in his eyes. now that he had reincarnated and cultivated again. Even with the 5 tribulations Zhu Bing and the sky-breaking halberd in hand, he couldn't kill a demon emperor, and the other party easily retreated. To be honest, in Xiao Qingfeng's eyes, this was already a disgrace. Even if he was only a level 4 immortal now, it was the same. He had the memories of immortal Lord Haotsang. The system he walked was also stronger than the traditional system, and his foundation was more powerful. Not only that, he also had the top Zhu Bing in hand. With all these advantages, Xiao Qingfeng didn't see himself as an ordinary level 4 immortal at all. But this battle is not without any gains. After a while, I should be able to break through to level 5 immortal. If it was before. Xiao Qingfeng didn't dare to believe that he could break through from level 4 immortal to level 5 immortal in a few years. Middle 3 immortal. In the ancient heavenly court, they were all ranked among the top experts. At this level, every small breakthrough would take thousands of years. Even if one was a genius, it would take more than 100 years to break through from level 4 immortal to level 5 immortal. But now, Xiao Qingfeng only needed a few more years to break through. The current environment. It had already far surpassed the peak of the ancient times. The sky-breaking halberd said, "The demon abyss is coming soon. The next battle is definitely not too far away. Although I don't know the outcome of this battle between the Emperor of Heaven and the Demon Emperor. But since the Demon Emperor retreated, he should be no match for the Emperor of Heaven. But although there is a difference in strength between the two sides, it shouldn't be too big. If he fought the Demon Abyss to the death, he might not have 100% chance of winning." The battle in front. Qin Shijian and the Demon Emperor fought above the void. Although the other true immortals sensed it, they couldn't see the battle clearly. They could only guess the outcome of the battle. The Emperor of Heaven's strength is extraordinary. I can't guess his depth now. Xiao Qingfeng shook his head. It was hard for him to imagine. 10 years ago, he could still suppress the other party. Now. But he was left far behind by the other party. Even if it was the reincarnation of an expert, it was impossible for his strength to increase so quickly. Xiao Qingfeng was puzzled, but he couldn't find out too much. At this moment, Mu Yang had completely taken root in the heavenly palace. A giant tree rose in the outer hall of the heavenly palace. It was like a canopy with lush branches and leaves. It directly reached the bottom of Zhou Tian's star map. A large amount of star power involuntarily surged towards the giant tree. At the same time, there was also a vast amount of spirit chi being fed back from the giant tree, making the spirit chi of the entire heavenly court more abundant. Breaking through to level 10 immortal. The spirit chi that Mu Yang could provide was comparable to a large spirit vein. P.S. Requesting monthly votes. Chapter 748. I need to leave for a while. If the gods come during this period, help me reject them, Qin Shijian said. Mu Yang's branches and leaves swayed, and a voice came from the trunk. Yes, master. If there are any unpredictable changes, you can ask San Hua to take care of it, Qin Shijian instructed again. Speak. In the sky above Zhou Tian's star diagram, a long sword buzzed slightly, and a cold voice came down. Yes, Emperor of Heaven. By the way, if the gods come because of the Heavenly Soldier Assessment, you can give this to Emperor Zhao and say that it is used for the Heavenly Soldier Assessment. He will naturally know the specific operation method. As he spoke, Qin Shijian handed a ball to Mu Yang. When the ball came into contact with the branch, it was like water, slowly melting away. After a simple explanation, Qin Shijian directly left the heavenly court, escaped into the passage of heaven and earth, and headed toward the void outside the realm. Now, the ancient stars were damaged. The power of the stars that the heavenly court could absorb had weakened a little. In this way, the birth of powerhouses would be slower than before. There was not much time now. Every minute slower meant that the chances of winning in the future would be reduced by a little. So, The most important thing now was to find a way to increase the power of the stars in the great wide world. Only by increasing it. Only then could the heavenly court produce enough powerhouses in a short period of time. No matter how many lower and middle true immortals there are, it is useless. There must be 3 upper true immortals. As for the Zhou-Tian constellation, it is too weak now. The Zhou-Tian constellation array can't be set up with the stars in the heavens as the foundation. Otherwise, there will be a huge weakness. Therefore, the refining of the real Zhou-Tian constellation array needs to be put on the agenda. Qin Shujian walked in the passage of heaven and earth. Not long after, he had already appeared in the void outside the realm. Whether it was the entrance or the exit, there were true immortals of the heavenly court guarding them. Seeing Qin Shujian come out, the true immortals guarding the place also bowed respectfully. Emperor of Heaven! Don't spread the news of my departure. This subject obeys. The true immortal had a solemn expression as he accepted the order. In the outer realm, with the great wide world as the center, the 10 cities set up a rough defense line. Most of the cultivators from the various clans had already gathered in the various cities. At the same time, there were also many people who were exploring the outer realm. In Qin Shujian's perception alone. Soon, he discovered the presence of quite a few cultivators. However, he didn't care too much about it. He left the 10 cities and headed into the depths of the void. To tell the truth, Qin Shujian was also very curious about this era's extraterritorial void. Every era's extraterritorial void looked similar on the surface, but in reality, there were many differences. Although the heavenly court had already opened the extraterritorial battlefield, but seriously speaking, Qin Shujian really didn't have a chance to take a stroll in the void. Not counting this time, he had only walked out of the heaven and earth barrier twice. The first time was when the Qianyuan realm was unsealed. Due to the existence of the god-vanquishing gale, he hurriedly returned. The second time was when the heavenly court opened up the outer realm battlefield and officially started a war with the evil demon clan in the void. After that battle, he was also severely injured and didn't have the chance to wander in the outer realm. This was the third time. Qin Shujian had a premonition that he would gain something different. There are 2 most important things now. The first is to find the location of the evil demon clan in the void. The second is to find a suitable star and move it into the great wide world. No, it should be 3 things, plus refining Zhou Tian's star map. Qin Shujian was deep in thought as he walked in the void outside the realm. The outer realm was vast and boundless. In addition, with the existence of the god-vanquishing gale, it was easy to be injured by the god-vanquishing gale if he wanted to endlessly expand his spiritual force to search. Therefore, it was not easy to find the location of the evil demon clan in the void. However, now that the myriad races and the players had entered the outer realm battlefield, the players wanted to take the risk and explore. No matter how deep the evil demon clan in the void hid, it was impossible to hide from the eyes and ears of the players. Therefore, the evil demon clan in the void was not a big problem. The remaining matters, it was to find a suitable star and refine Zhou Tian's star map. There are a large number of stars in the outer realm. It shouldn't be difficult to find a suitable star. It's just that refining Zhou Tian's star map is troublesome. Qin Shujian frowned slightly when he thought of this. The Zhou Tian star map was related to the Zhou Tian Great Stars Array. It was not something that an ordinary divine weapon could compare to. In the first era, the array diagram of the Zhou Tian Great Stars Array was comparable to a connate cardinal treasure. In the third era, although there were no connate cardinal treasures as array diagrams, there were ancient powerhouses from the second era who helped to refine powerful array diagrams. It's a pity that the Weapon Emperor has fallen. Otherwise, with the help of the Weapon Emperor, Zhou Tian's star map would not be a problem. Qin Shujian sighed when he thought of the fallen powerhouse. In the first 3 epochs, the world was filled with people. There were only 2 powerhouses who had reached the pinnacle of the art of forging. One was the Weapon Emperor. The other was the Taiqing Holy Man. It was a pity that both of them had fallen. In addition to the decline of the art of forging in this era, there were no more powerhouses who had reached the pinnacle. Even though Qin Shujian was quite accomplished in the art of forging, he was still a far cry from the two powerhouses. Without the weapon Emperor, it won't be easy for me to refine Zhou Tian's star map. However, it's too early to think about this now. I'll think about it after I gather all the materials to refine Zhou Tian's star map. Qin Shujian thought to himself. A lot of materials were needed to refine Zhou Tian's star map. However, the corpses of the star beasts and the investiture of the gods were enough to offset most of the materials. The remaining materials were just a small portion of the materials. Qin Shujian reckoned that it would not be too difficult to find them in the void. He thought to himself. He didn't know how far he had traveled in the void outside the realm. In any case, the outer realm was the same no matter where one was. It was definitely not an easy task to distinguish one from another. All of a sudden, a black shadow crept in the void. Evil void demon! Qin Shujian raised his eyebrows and looked coldly at the black shadow in front of him. The void was huge. It was normal for there to be evil void demons. However, the evil void demon did not seem to be very powerful. It did not notice his presence at all. Qin Shujian took a step forward and the void collapsed. The evil void demon that was creeping there did not even have time to react before it was crushed by the terrifying pressure. Boom! The void shattered. The black shadow dissipated. A crystal fell out from it. Qin Shujian waved his hand and his true essence swept out and caught the crystal in his hand. A demon lord level crystal! Qin Shujian only took a simple glance and kept the crystal in his storage ring. Although he had the investiture of the gods, he also had a storage ring. The important things were placed in the investiture of the gods. As for the other things, they were placed in the storage ring. A demon lord level crystal could play a big role for a powerful being. However, it was not significant for a true immortal. Because although the crystal had the effect of tempering the spirit god. However, a true immortal spirit god was already powerful to a terrifying extent. A demon lord level crystal simply could not be tempered and strengthened on the basis of a true immortal's powerful spirit god. Only a demon lord level crystal could be useful to a true immortal's spirit god. Then, he casually killed a void fiend. Qin Shujian walked in the void without stopping. Soon. That was when he encountered the second void fiend. Just like the previous one, it was directly killed by Qin Shujian. After harvesting a crystal, Qin Shujian continued to walk forward. Boom! A demon lord level void demon fell. Putting away a crystal, Qin Shujian's face was also filled with emotion. The extraterritorial void is really a land of treasures. In 5 days, he could not even remember how many void demons he had killed. The strong ones were at the demon lord level. The weak ones were at the divine martial realm. However, no matter how strong or weak these void demons were, after encountering Qin Shujian, they were all dead. In these few days, Qin Shujian's storage ring had already stored a lot of crystals. These crystals, even if it was given to an ordinary true immortal, it could increase their strength by a lot. This was also the reason why Qin Shujian thought that the outer realm was a treasure land. However, there was also a prerequisite, and that was under the condition that one was strong enough. If one was not strong enough, the outer realm would not be a treasure land, but a land of death. I heard that apart from the void demons, there are also void beasts in the outer realm. However, after walking for so many days, I haven't seen any void beasts. Could it be that those void beasts have all been killed? There was some doubt in Qin Shujian's eyes. A few days later, he had encountered quite a few void demons, but he had yet to encounter a single void beast. The God Slayer, who had been placed in his sea of consciousness, spoke at this time. I've heard from the Emperor of Heaven that void beasts are extremely rare. Moreover, the outer realm is vast and boundless, so it's normal that you haven't encountered any in a short time. Qin Shujian knew what was going on. Not long after, A stone sphere that was thousands of feet in size, emitting a weak power, and covered in uneven marks appeared in front of him. Star! Qin Shujian's eyes lit up slightly, but the divine light soon disappeared. The huge stone sphere in front of him was indeed a star. However, on the surface, it was just a relatively weak star among all the stars. Even if such a star was moved into the greater thousand world, it would not be of much use because the energy it contained was not high. According to Qin Shujian's estimation, even if all the energy of the star in front of him was absorbed, it would probably only be able to cultivate an almighty. The problem was, there were simply too many almighty cultivators in the myriad races now. No matter how small a mosquito's leg is, it's still meat. I can't waste it. Based on the principle of not wasting it, Qin Shujian came in front of the star, then clenched his fist and blasted it out. Boom! A terrifying power erupted, forcibly shattering the entire star. Countless stones flew out and scattered in the void. At the moment when the star shattered, Yi Zichen was shocked. A lot of liquid that looked like a galaxy flowed out, and at the same time, a star that seemed to have shrunk countless times appeared there. Star sulfur serum. When Qin Shujian saw the galaxy-like liquid, he recognized the other party's identity. Immediately, he took out the investiture of the gods and then put the star sulfur serum into it. Then, his gaze fell on the star that had shrunk countless times, and a smile appeared on his face. I didn't expect such a small star to have a star core. Not bad, not bad. Star core. That was the source of star power. However, only the most powerful stars could produce a star core. Some of the weaker stars did not have a star core. And stars without star cores were destined to not be able to exist for a long time. When their energy was exhausted, they would completely fall. On the contrary, only stars with star cores could endlessly absorb the power of the void to nurture themselves, so that their strength would continue to grow. It could be said that the star core was the basis for determining whether a star could exist forever. Similarly, the most important material to refine the Zhou-Tian star map was also the star core. To refine the Zhou-Tian star map, at least 365 star cores are needed, and this is only the basic number. The more star cores are gathered, the more powerful the Zhou-Tian star map will be. Qin Shujian put away the star core and continued to wander in the void. 365 star cores, at present, he only had one, and he still needed 364 more. To gather all the star cores, one could imagine how difficult it would be. Moreover, to refine the powerful Zhou-Tian star map, the basic number of 365 star cores was definitely not enough. If those ancient stars could be broken, there would definitely be powerful star cores. What a pity! Thinking of those ancient stars near the great wide world, Qin Shujian was also very envious. However, those stars all had star beasts that were sleeping. If too many stars were broken, it might cause the awakening of other star beasts. By then, it would be a terrible disaster. Therefore, unless it was a last resort, those stars could not be moved. More importantly, when the first dozen stars were broken, no star cores appeared. Qin Shujian suspected that those star cores had been swallowed by the star beasts, and then the whole star was replaced by them. If this is the case, those star beasts' bodies should also be able to refine star cores. Qin Shujian suddenly woke up. He did not pay much attention to this matter at first. Now that he had obtained the star cores, he remembered this matter indirectly. Thinking of this, Qin Shujian immediately took out the star beast's body stored in the investiture of the gods. He saw a terrifying star beast's body lying directly in the void. Even though it had already fallen, its body was still emitting a terrifying aura. That aura. It stirred the void into powder. Qin Shujian stood in front of the star beast's body, and there was no difference between its size and that of an ant. However, that monstrous aura did not have much effect on him. The star beast in front of him. In its heyday, it was only an upper 3 true immortal. Qin Shujian was not afraid of it when it was alive, let alone a corpse. The star beast's body appeared. He immediately spread out his divine thought and covered the entire star beast's body. The vast divine thought turned into countless threads and instantly entered the star beast's body through the gap in the corpse. Time passed by little. In the end, Qin Shujian found a powerful fluctuation coming from where the star beast's heart was. That fluctuation was the same as the star beast's own pressure. There was no way to sense it from the outside at all. Only when he went deep into the star beast's body could he find the difference. "It's really here!" Qin Shujian suddenly smiled. He took a step forward and instantly came to the star beast's chest. Immediately, the God Slayer appeared in his hand and he directly slashed down. The star beast's strong body was easily torn apart by Zhu Bing as if it was made of paper. Faint starlight blood flowed from the wound. Soon, a star core the size of a human head was picked out by Qin Shujian from the wound. The star core was very big, but also very small. It was big compared to ordinary creatures and small compared to the huge body of the star beast. There was a star core the size of a human head in the body of 1,000,000 feet long. It was not easy to find it. Looking at the star core the size of a human head in front of him, Qin Shujian could clearly feel the surging power contained in it. Then, he took out the fist-sized star river that he had obtained from the investiture of the gods. He could see the difference between the two simply by comparing them. As expected of an ancient star, the power in the star core is very powerful. It is more than 100 times more powerful than the original star core. Qin Shujian sighed and then put away the star core. Then, the investiture of the gods flew across the sky and forcibly put away the star beast's body. Just as the investiture of the gods put away the star beast's body, a fierce and powerful aura came from afar. When Qin Shujian turned his head to look, the void within thousands of miles shattered like a mirror, and a terrifying roar immediately sounded. Roar! P.S. Requesting monthly votes. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.